Hi everyone, welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we have another Twilight Princess any percent tournament match. This is the Last Chance Pool Part 1, featuring Simmykins, QWERTY, and Andy. On commentary today we have Fodder Cannon and Jaquaid, and they'll take it from here.
Thank you, Baseball, for that intro. Yes, as they said, this is a last chance pool, so we're trying to be as lenient as we can, as this is a community-run event, and we want people to be able to play the game as much as possible. There were seven pools that determined seeding in the main and redemption bracket, and this is the last chance pool. The top two times in this race and another race that I believe is going to be run later this week are going to move on to the main bracket, and the remaining five will be put in the redemption bracket. And it'll be the top two times between the two races. It is not going to be the top time in this race and the top time in the other race. For example, if Madeline, QWERTY, and Simi get the top times in this race, compared to the race that's going on later this week, they will move on to the main bracket, and everybody else will be going to the redemption bracket. I'm going to breathe out and let Jaquaid say hello.
Hello. Sorry, I just didn't want to interrupt you. You're doing a great job explaining how all that works. I think the other last chance pool race will be next Friday, actually. So it'll be the two races will be kind of spread out, but like you said, the top two times from both races combined will move on to the main bracket, and the bottom five will go to the redemption bracket. And also, it determines like placement between all the times, other than just determining main bracket or redemption bracket, determines to some extent like seeding within each bracket, which is kind of nice. So getting first here, well, I mean, I guess at this point it doesn't make that much of a difference for the main bracket, because between first and second is between going up against Beast and between going up against Nimzo, and they're both very, very good at TP. But anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just getting the link to a website that QWERTY has put together that shows the pools and the current last chance pool, as well as the brackets and the standings for the race as it is right now. If you want to give it a look while we are letting our runners get set up here. A bit of a visual aid for that word vomit, but you can kind of see, like Jaquaid was saying, that the first and second place for this race is going to be going against the first and second place on the leaderboard at SRC going into the main bracket, and GG to Nimzo, who just got a world record this week. All right, it looks like we are off. Madeline already into the first load zone, and if you're familiar with TP, we're going to be getting a rock and making our way over to the gate in Orden, and the goal is to bonk and get past the gate so that we can perform back in time, which is a great way to say we are going to get all of the stuff we usually get from Orden Village without doing any of the Orden Village things.
Yeah, definitely an interesting strategy by Simi, starting 10 seconds late. Yeah. Not sure what was happening there.
Yeah, something Australia and the controls being upside down. Yeah. And it looks like Madeline is the first through the gate, and they're going to be doing safe back in time. Oh, did Andy do fast bit? I didn't see that.
I think Andy did. Well, I mean, he pulled up the map, so I'm pretty sure he did safety. Yeah. But
I may also just be wrong that Madeline was first through the gate.
Yeah. It looks like everybody got bit, so that's good. So nobody is going to be losing like 50 seconds at the beginning.
Yes. And what this is going to let us do is, you see we have the hero's clothes and the sword and the shield. It is also going to set a save flag that says we have Epona tamed, which is going to be important to get the iron boots later. But first we need to roll over first to Koro to get the lantern so that we can save Tallow. And that will put us into Orden Day 2.
Yeah, and it's it's good because I think we need the lantern anyway later in the run. I don't think there would be ways around using it, for example, in Arbiter's Grounds. So it's good that we go ahead and get it here anyway. Yeah, and this first segment here is just a lot of rolling, honestly. So the runners are just going to try to chain rolls as best they can and hopefully avoid bonking, which will happen quite a bit throughout the run. Probably. And so, anyway, ideally you chain rolls frame perfectly, and you can kind of tell by looking at the HUD in the upper right. If the lantern isn't lighting up, then the rolls have been frame perfect. But it's also like very helpful for maintaining speed generally, especially going up hills. I think that you lose a lot of speed pretty quickly if you don't have frame perfect rolls.
Simi's controller wasn't working, so he probably needed to get the adapter that something European to American ports. The Wii is made by the Japanese. What am I talking about? But that was a good explanation of rolling on the worst tile in the game for rolling, because there is just so much lag within this one little tile of Farron.
Yeah, that happens in a number of areas in this game. Here, it definitely happens, and then a couple of spots in Linear Twilight, it happens. I think it happens some in Upper Zora's River and also Gerudo Desert. Mostly just very big areas. There will be a lot of lag, and so the runners are gonna probably try to do some, camera angling to avoid lag as much as they can. I think Simi mentioned recently in one of his streams that like he focuses a lot on trying to do lag reduction, so hopefully we'll see some cool camera from him.
It looks like Andy is first to save Tallow with a 4:07, I believe, cage break, which is a great time in a race.
Yeah, I think in PB attempts when people are going for fast bit, they'd be looking for something under 4 minutes at high level, but in a race, can't quite go that fast.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a method called fast back in time, which is a lot faster. And I don't go for it. I go for the safety back in time. So I'm lucky to get a 4 minute and 20-second cage break, and getting that with a fast back in time, 10 seconds faster than that on fast back in time is very impressive.
So we have some goats here.
Yep,
and
there are goats on
basically, yes, there are goats. And we like to call them Howard sometimes because sometimes they don't want to do what they're supposed to do. They're a little bit random in how far away you have to be before they can actually respond to you whooping at them. But there's a pattern that we do that kind of makes it, pretty likely to get good times, especially if you go to the left at the start. And so we're looking for hopefully around 20 seconds ish, ideally.
Yeah. Seems like Madeline getting a couple Howards, unfortunately, been able to wrangle them back in.
Yeah, it looked pretty good from everybody on the goats there.
Yeah.
Hello?
I think the fastest was the 19 from
Hi.
Simi.
I'm in a race right now.
Did you get yourself dinner?
No.
And we have some more RNG, more true RNG, really, coming up here. We play essentially rock, paper, scissors with Bo, except instead of rock, paper, scissors, it's, I'm not sure if I'm saying these in the right order, but slap, lunge, and dodge. And so basically, slap beats dodge, lunge beats slap, and dodge beats lunge. And so what we're going to try to do is just have Bo dodge to the right here or stand still in the first cycle at least. And then just mash A really fast to get him off the platform after slapping him. You can see it from Andy there. He got the perfect first cycle. And unfortunately, there's 2 cycles. They have slightly different RNG for what Bo will do, but the same strat is still the fastest. You hope that he goes to the right, and then you can just get him off the platform in one go. So Andy had a pretty good bow. Bow can a lot of times be very bad, though, especially if you can't mash very well.
Yeah, and Andy going for the slap on the second phase of Bo as well, which is considered more risky because his RNG is a little bit more aggressive, and he was able to get the 1 cycle in both phases, which is going to give him a 720 boots, which is amazing for a race.
Yeah, that's good for even not a race, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, like, on the first phase, I think the slap has... I don't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say the slap has, between him going to the right or just standing still, about, like, a 50% chance of working. But on the second phase, he has, like... I don't know, it's either, like, a somewhere between 20 and 30% chance of going to the right, and he'll have a... I think he has, like, a 50% chance of slapping on the second phase, and so... If you want to, like, if you're not good at mashing and you don't trust yourself, it's, like, maybe a better idea to just try to lunge. It's a little bit safer.
Yeah, but Bo seemed to be very kind to all of our runners. Simi, unfortunately, getting a bit of bad RNG, but still getting a sub 8 boots. Sub 8 is probably what I would go for in a no reset scenario. I'm not mad about it in a race, especially with a 19 goats.
Yeah, well, and for Simi too, since he started like 10 seconds late, it's actually pretty darn good.
Oh yeah, that is a good point. So I guess we could count that more as a 745 goats almost. Not goats, boots. I need to get my English checked. And now all of our runners are crawling into and getting transformed into Wolf Link.
We saw Andy get box break just there. It's like you dash kind of diagonally, walk 12 steps, and then start a combo and hold left at the end of it. And if you time it right, you'll break the box like right as the cutscene is starting, which saves a few frames.
Yeah, it's
and
a swag
makes the
trick.
movement easier. Yeah. Beast is being rude, not wishing me good luck. That's too bad.
I will wish you good luck, Jaquaid. You will get my good luck. You're already siphoning my calm energy because I'm stumbling over every sentence. But this is a good time to talk about wolf movement in this game. The fastest way to move as wolf is dashing. In most scenarios, there are some, like we'll see in Castletown, where dashing and just spamming A as wolf is actually quite slow because your default dash movement is much slower than it is in the areas like the sewers. And we can get around this by, a few frames after you dash, you can do a couple things like grab a ledge or B attack, and it'll cancel your dash, and that'll let you dash as soon as you're done with your B attack. And we'll see that a couple times within the sewers, just to give us better lines of movement throughout.
Yeah, and thankfully the timing on dash cancels is super tight. I think it's like a third of a second, so you can kind of just lazily like tap A then B, or start dashing a variable amount before a ledge and be just fine.
Yeah.
It's not like frame perfect or anything, which is good.
Speaking of frame perfect, there are a couple Midna text triggers right before the Midna jumps and the tower section of the sewers that Andy's going through right now. That if you're able to press A right after the text trigger before she runs off, you can jump early. And there are a couple little. This game really likes one framers, and that's definitely one of them.
We're about to see another one where Andy's going to try to skip the text coming out of this cutscene by doing a jump attack. He'll get
Gets it,
which is nice.
Andy gets it. Haha.
True.
True.
The one framers coming out of cutscenes are maybe a little bit more consistent because you just have to time the A press to be one frame after the start press. So in theory, if you like practice at it enough, you can get those pretty much every time.
Yep.
But it's easier said than done. The other ones we just kind of mash for.
Yeah. There is one frame coming out of a cutscene that we do not mash for because it is very important for the routes. It does not break the route if you miss it, but it loses about a minute, and that's Gorge Void, which we will see in. Let's see. I need to actually look at their splits because I don't do Gorge route, so I need a time estimate for when Gorge Void actually is.
Oh, it'll be like 30-something minutes, probably 33, 34 minutes, I think. I'm guessing.
Right after
somewhere around.
Right.
So, like it's a few minutes into the. I want to say it's like 3.5-ish minutes into the segment after Boomerang.
Yeah.
And Boomerang will be like 29, 30 minutes, somewhere in there, depending on how well the runners do getting up there.
Madeline getting bullied by the Koos. And now we see Andy going over and doing some luring of this friendly bublin named Hugo to get him over to the trigger into Fair and Twilight. So normally you would be able to go over to this load zone, and Minda would kind of give you a trigger that says, hey, you need to go just get the sword and shield. But since we did back in time, we already have the sword and shield. It's on our backs. Or is it? Unfortunately, since we skipped Ordnance Day 1, the trigger for the real sword and shield that would let Midna tell you to go through are missing. So we need to use a little bit of active pushing and a long jump attack using this bublin as a springboard to get into Fair and Twilight.
Yeah, I think even if we had the items in our inventory, we still would not be able to skip the trigger because I think it's like tied right to the text triggers that are like in the proper Ordon state, and then also getting the Ordon Spring portal. Yeah. So I hear people mention a lot like, well, you know, we don't actually have the Sword and Shield in our inventory, and that's not like strictly speaking the reason why we have to do this.
Yeah, Andy getting a little trolled by the bublin right now. Unfortunately, you only get one chance at that trick, and if you mess and you attack him, the only way to reset his health is to void, and that loses about a minute. Simi looking like he's having some trouble as well. And Madeline. All right, so all of our runners are about the same. Andy a little bit forward, all on their second try of a sword and shield skip is what it's called. And yeah, don't ask me to explain story flags in this game because I always get them wrong.
You're fine. You're fine. The I was just a little bit amused, and apparently it must be commentator's curse when you said the friendly Boblin Hugo. It's like thinking to myself, I don't know how friendly he is, and he's not being very friendly right now, is he?
The only reason I call Hugo friendly is because Beast does in his commentated world record, and now I always call him friendly, just because I think it's nice to tell the NPCs that we bite in the face and then use for leapfrog without their consent as friendly. And Andy's through.
He's just trying to hug you with his club, you know? Yes. That's what he's doing. He's very friendly.
Yeah. Just trying to jog your memory of where the sword and shield are.
So that Minda doesn't tell us that we sure are thick.
You sure are thick. He does have a thick skull. I think I think Link has some brain damage after all this.
It's like Simi is also through. Let's see if Madeline can get it.
Having some trouble with the positioning, it looks like. And there we go.
Very surprised that worked.
Yeah. I'm not going to explain why that worked because I don't know myself. I'm going to say the word slide and somebody is going to correct me. So our next objective is to get the boomerang from the forest temple, but not before doing a little detour, doing another jump attack, or long Midna attack, I think is what it's called. It's different from what we did to poor Hugo. And we're going to use one of the Twilight Messengers to get into the Sacred Grove early and get the Master Sword.
Yeah. It's a super jump. We use a super jump off of Jamal, who's in the sort of North Fawn area, to get up onto a wall and then jump down into Sacred Grove, which allows us to get the Master Sword early, which, as you can imagine, in a game like this, saves a pretty substantial amount of time. Although maybe less than you might think, with some of the developments that we've had on like the HD version of the game, to be able to skip other time losses that it would save.
Yep. Simi going for the gate clip again. Oh, my screen cut out.
Oh, we got it.
Oh, very nice.
Nice.
Yeah. It saves time the first time, but after that, it's just swag. Having a little trouble with my feed. There we go. Yeah, I think I just got an unfortunate lock and had to refresh twice, but looks like we're good now. Andy setting up for the out of bounds jump.
Nice. Yeah, thankfully messing that up doesn't actually lose all that much time compared to some of the other early game tricks. It's not too bad, so missing it a few times is not a huge deal.
Yeah, that was very fast. Yeah, of all of the major sequence breaks, that is, I would say, the second most punishing to fail. Second to early city, which is just you transform, you bonk, and then you try it again. Jamal also being nice to Simi. Unfortunately, Madeline's sliding down back into the fight, so she's going to have to kill one of the shadow messengers and make them respawn, so she can try to get him back in position to try again.
Yeah, the nice thing is that Madeline didn't go for this, but if you just run back over to the same spot, a lot of the time Jamal will just still be in the same position, and you can just use the same spot. It's not perfect every single time. Like, sometimes he'll just die in a weird way that when you go back over there, the angle won't work, but most of the time you can just retry it quickly, which is nice. Instead of having to, like, lure him back over and back over again.
So now Simi and Andy both in the Skull Kid chase. It is very nice of the developers of these older 3D platforming RPG games to kind of just leave all of the surfaces in each tile available at all times, even though you're not supposed to get the Master Sword until you beat Morpheal. So we can take advantage of that just to run out of bounds and then go right into the Grove, and suddenly we're about to get the Master Sword. And looks like all of our runners are in the Grove now.
Yeah, this is a kind of calm part of the run. After doing a couple tricks, you get a little bit of a break running around, just doing kind of easy movement and grabbing the Master Sword. So, kind of a nice downtime. Because there will be more stressful tricks coming up. Don't you worry, but for now, not much. And yes, this tournament is an any % tournament, so there are glitches that are allowed in the runs. It's not a glitchless tournament or anything like that.
Finish the game as fast as possible. Those are the only rules.
Yep.
And there is going to be a bit of variance in the route. I believe Andy and Simi are both doing ELH, and then Madeline is doing the older Gorge pillar clip route, which At fastest is only about 10-15 seconds lower than ELH. It's going to see a lot of variance in the mid game. We're going to see Madeline going to Snow Peak before fighting Morpheal.
Yeah, the routes will line up again around Arbiter's Grounds-ish. It's a little bit before then, technically, but we'll know for sure at around Arbiter's Grounds.
Yeah. Yeah, ELH or Empty Lake Hylia has been found pretty recently. Jaquay, do you want to tell us how it works? Because I do not do it.
Well, okay, so the basic idea behind the Empty Lake Hylia route is that by doing a trick called Empty Lake Hylia, imagine that, we can cause the lake to be empty. And since there's no water there, we can just kind of jump down into lake bed. It's a little bit more complicated than that. It's not very easy to jump down in there, and we can't just LJA in or anything like that with the boomerang. We have to use a bomb boost, so it's a little bit tricky. But basically, it's another way for us to get there without having to Zora. And what we would do before is what Madeline's going to do, which is Pillar Clip, which is, sinking down in the low water state of Lake Hylia during, I guess, during Elden Twilight, but in Lineru, in order to get into the dungeon, grab the claw shot, get the Uku, and Uku out. Yeah, with Empty Lake Hylia, we don't have to do that. And basically, the way that Empty Lake Hylia works, the technical specifics, I'm just going to try to be as accurate but dumbed down as possible. The way it works is that Lake Hylia has a default state at that point, which I think is 0. And so the game has a set of code that it tries to run when you game over. And if you're loading in some different area, I think through a game over, and it's a state of 0, sometimes it'll carry over the state from the other area. So we use this to game over in Plum's minigame and carry essentially the Plum minigame state over from the Plum minigame in Upper Zors River into Lake Hylia. And because Lake Hylia doesn't normally like having that state, it's just there's no water there. And no, Simi, you're not all on ELH. Madeline is running Gorge Pillar Clip.
Yeah. That was a pretty good explanation. I think it'll make it a little bit more sense for the viewers with visual cues. I realized after asking you that people
That's fine.
probably don't understand the states that we're talking about just for casual viewing. But we successfully talked over the entire Master Sword cutscene for Andy. And what's important about this cutscene is, one, getting the Master Sword, but also the Shadow Crystal that you'll see Minna hold during this cutscene. Getting that check also lets us transform at will anywhere. Well, anywhere that somebody isn't looking at you, rather. And this lets us do a couple of major sequence breaks.
Yeah, but you'll see the runners are going to go straight back to the north part of Faron so that we can go ahead and go into Forest Temple and get the boomerang, which will be very useful throughout the run because it allows us to... Well, let's just put it this way. The thing that we did with Hugo was called the long jump attack, where we got extra distance. So imagine being able to do that pretty much anywhere without an enemy. And that's what the boomerang more or less allows you to do. It saves a lot of time throughout the run. It's one of the major reasons why the GameCube version is, substantially faster than the Wii version of the game. And so we also, I guess, need it to get out of Faron in the first place without being the Faron Twilight. So I don't think that they could get out anyway.
Yeah, so there is a small bit of speed tech that lets us skip the rest of Forest Temple and also getting Ferris Twilight, which is called Fair and Escape, which uses exactly the long jump attack. Nope, that's it. There's no and. And our Master Sword paying off right as we get it. being able to pull out the lantern and disperse the purple mist going towards the forest temple. Usually a monkey would steal your lantern for you and you'd have to kind of chase him through the mist, but since we are able to transform, we just have our lantern and we're able to get over to the forest temple.
Yep, and there's some tech that we can do here to save a few minutes. It's also quite technical, but basically, if you remember what we did at the beginning of the run to get onto the title screen back in time, we kind of just reset like on the same frame essentially that we were voiding. We're going to do that again to get back on the title screen, and instead of voiding out this time, we're going to try to load a file while voiding out. And if we load a file with the correct properties, it'll put us into the... did Andy save, by the way? I guess he did. It looked weird on the save screen for some reason. Anyway, so it'll load us into the King Bulblin 1 fight, and we can reset while skipping the cutscene to set something called early boss flags, which has some nice effects in a couple different places, but in Forest Temple specifically, it makes the game think that we have a lot of monkeys, and so if we just go into the area where the bridge is normally, we'll just have all the monkeys that we need to go ahead and cross that bridge, which is very nice and saves a good chunk of time. It'll also be helpful later to go ahead and get into the Deku Toad fight without having to have water bombs or Zora armor.
Yes. I believe the number of monkeys that flag gives you is 28, and the check says, yep, 28 is greater than or equal to 4. So cool, you've got the monkey chain and can go get the boomerang.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how it works. So my understanding of early boss flags is that the amount that you get is variable depending on like when you reset during skipping the cutscene. And so it gives you a number that's substantially greater than 4, at the very least. And having at least 4, the game will give you 4 monkeys. I think it deducts 4 from your boss flag total. And then you can continue through the run with boss flags and go ahead and go straight over to the boomerang area.
That's where I got 28 from. The flag sets it at 32, thank you. And then once the monkeys are put into the position to do the chain, it deducts it and makes the flag count 28.
Anyway, our runners will definitely want to not void in the monkey chain room here, because doing so would set the boss flags to 0, which we definitely don't want. Because we want to have some boss flags for the Deku Toad fight later, as I mentioned.
Ook being a little mean to Andy, but eventually stopping, and thanks to the Master Sword, we're able to get a 1 cycle on Ook. And watch this excessively long cutscene. And then he will have the most broken item in the game.
Yeah, I think specifically it's like the cutscene's like 46 seconds until you get the boomerang text or something like that after hitting Ook's butt a few times. It's fairly long, but there are definitely longer cutscenes.
Yeah, for sure. That is one of the longer cutscenes that are in the route. I was gonna say the longer non-boss cutscenes, but Ook, I guess technically is a mini boss.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of the longer mini boss cutscenes too. The Death Sword cutscene is not short, but I think part of the time that I think it is just rolling over to the chest, and it's definitely shorter than like 46 seconds. And Deku Toad is much shorter.
Yeah, comparatively, Deku Toad is very fast.
Yeah.
Now that Andy has the boomerang, he's going to teleport down to South Farron and then head over to the entrance to Hyrule Field, where there is another nasty trigger where Minna says, hey, aren't you supposed to like beat the Forest Temple or something? And then we use the boomerang to say, no, we don't.
And basically what the route is going to do at this point at least for ELH. It's a little bit more complicated for Gorge Pillarlet, but the goal for ELH at this point is just to try to clear out Elden and Linear Twilight as fast as possible. And so essentially what we're going to do is we're just going to try to, we're not able to warp the bridge over into Kakariko Gorge like the game would normally want us to, so we're going to do some tricks to get around that. And then during the process of getting over to Kakariko, we're also going to go ahead and do kind of half of Linear Twilight a little bit backwards. All the stuff that you would do before getting the vessel, essentially. We actually do need to clear Elden Twilight in order to do the rest of Linear Twilight, so we will then go back to Elden Twilight. But for now, we're going to go ahead and Andy's going to try to skip the mailman here. Gets it.
Yep, looks good. No mail today for Andy. He'll have another chance to get mail at the end of the run, but now he said no.
Well, he may have another chance to get mail if he doesn't get Gorge Fight as well, so. Because he will come back this way if that's the case.
Ah, that's true. I didn't think of the implications of that. Having to do mailman skip twice if you miss Gorge Void.
I have no idea what Simi is doing.
Not getting postman skip.
Did Simi forget like completely where he was supposed to stand? That was not even in the remote vicinity of the spot where you're supposed to stand.
I think he forgot the visual cue, but I honestly don't blame him. I swear the texture repeats on that wall at least 20 times, and each of them look like the place you're supposed to stand.
I guess so. I have no idea. That was very interesting.
I will admit that I think I've skipped that postman a total of twice ever.
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult than it should be, honestly. But
Andy looks like he got Gorge Void.
Yeah, I guess
just
we were
completely
paying too much
glanced over
attention.
that.
Right, paying too much attention to Simi botching mailman skip. We'll have another chance to explain it when Simi goes for it. But for now, Andy is going to try to do a rupee roll here. He's going to use this yellow rupee to try to get some rupee text on the fence, which will allow him to go ahead and roll over the fence and then walk around the outside of the fence and do an LJA over the gap, basically, the gorge. And that'll allow us to go ahead and get over to Kakariko.
Simi going for Gorge Void.
So this is the one framer that you were mentioning earlier. You have to press, you have to do a jump attack on a specific
and he
frame.
gets it.
Looks like Simi also got it. And that allows you to void out, so it prevents you from having the forced warp back to Faron, super early. And saves a good chunk of time from not having to run all the way back over to Elden later.
Saves about a minute, and it also means you have to do Fair and Escape one extra time, which is a bit more specific of a standing place than people give it credit for. And that can get a little frustrating as a new runner, because it's one of those places where he says, hey, you're not supposed to be here, and then Link runs like 20 paces, and then you have to set yourself back up again.
Simi again with the very interesting cues for doing some of these tricks. I don't think I've seen people do it that way before. But unfortunately, he's going to have to do it again, so we're going to get another look at it.
You may be going for the backup.
I think at that point, you should just save warp, but okay. And since he didn't save warp, he's going to have to hope that... now
he
he's
heard
gonna
you.
Save warp. Well, so I mean, he's already gotten the yellow rupee text, right? So he can't get that same text again unless he save warps, and so he would have to hope that the backup rupee spot has a blue specifically, which is not guaranteed.
And on Madeline's screen, seeing what happens when you fail Gorge Void, now she's going to have to talk to Midna and have a force warp back to Farron and have to do Farron Escape again.
Anyway, so this will be interesting. I guess both Madeline and Andy will be heading over to Lanayru at about the same time. There are different spots in the route. Andy is definitely further ahead because he got Gorge Void and already went to Kakariko, but anyway. Yeah, but that's definitely an interesting setup from Simi on Ruby Roll, doing the I guess standing in the bushes, doing slightly different targets and doing a little bit of a roll before doing the LJA. Sort of interesting.
Yeah, I believe what that lets you do when setting up the trick is only worry about the vertical angle and not worry so much about the horizontal angle. Or reverse that. You worry more about you don't worry about the vertical angle and just have to get the 2 spots on the fence to get the horizontal angle.
Yeah, I thought it was something like you have to like time the LJA maybe a little bit better for like when the boomerang is in the right spot, but the targeting is generally easier, which is nice. Although
for that one,
Simi is in chat, so you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. I believe the timing is a bit tighter on the horizontal setup than the vertical setup.
Yeah. So it's a trade-off. But anyway, Andy and Madeline both went for a trick called Gate Clip there. We actually did see Simi doing something very similar with a different gate, where you kind of just attack the gate and then just try to side hop through at a little bit of an angle. And so that works on pretty much every gate in the game, as Wolflink, I think. And so it's nice because we can kind of just phase through walls. I think that TAS maybe even does something similar with the gate before Kakariko Village instead of like digging under it twice. But I don't remember the specifics.
That sounds like something TAS would do because the gate before Kakariko and before Lanayru, I think, are the same models. So they probably have the same collision going through the gate. So something different here, you're going to see Andy going right for the card flight to get up to the Zora domain portal, and Madeline doing sinking down with iron boots to do pillar clip to get into Lakebed Temple early.
That looks good.
Yeah, that looks
Should
very
work.
good.
Yep.
That was very close to being an instant clip, I believe. Yeah, that was a fast pillar clip.
Yeah, and you have just enough air to go ahead and, tap swim with the iron boots into the loading zone there. And then once you get in there, you can just save warp, and it'll put you all the way through the tunnel very, very nicely because we already have the Master Sword. And it's a good thing, too, because if that save warp didn't put us through the tunnel, we actually would not be able to get through the tunnel. We would just drown. So...
And now that she's in the Lakebed Temple, the objective is to get the claw shots and ook along the way. You can technically go kill Morpheal now, but there are also some things that are a bit weird in the save flags that you will need to clear Linear Twilight before killing Morpheal, I believe. And Linear Twilight, I think, is one of the most important things to do in the run, because that also locks City in the Sky and Arbiter's Grounds, which are pivotal to completing the run. Yeah, and the bomb bag. I guess that's important too. We'll talk about what the bomb bag does a little bit later. Andy making his way up to Zora's domain, and the important thing really is just to get the portal. Since we don't have Elden Twilight cleared yet, it's just a bit faster to go get this portal first, and then go back and do Elden Twilight, so you can warp the meteor straight to Zora's domain to start Lanayru Twilight after Elden.
Yeah, the whole reason that we enter Lanayru from like sort of the wrong spot is because it just allows us to skip running across a couple different fields that we would have to. Because we can kind of just go straight to the bridge instead of having to like run across North Hyrule Field and then like West Castletown Field and all of that. So, also, I guess I think I went over I said this in a previous race, I think, but I guess in the GameCube version, probably can't actually enter the normal way very easily. So.
I cannot speak to that. I don't know how HD does it.
Yeah, well, I mean, HD would normally go ahead and complete Elden Twilight first, and then use Epona and like drinking something or using lantern oil or something to take Epona out of bounds to get past the rocks. So I don't know exactly how that would work on the GameCube route, but in any event, it would be very slow. So definitely fast to go ahead and use Wolf to put in the wrong way.
So Madeline now fighting Deku Toad to get the claw shot, and then they're going to be using Uku to exit the Lakebed Temple, which will be useful for later. Since they are not doing Empty Lake Hylia, whenever you warp the meteor to Lanayru and melt Zora's domain, Pillar Clip is no longer a viable strategy. So they're going to use Uku after the fact to get back into Forest Temple, Lakebed Temple, to kill Morpheal. Yes, the Eel and Forest Temple.
I think there are technically a couple different ways of getting into Lakebed with high water, but it's very difficult, and Uku is definitely quite a bit faster. Also, I think somebody mentioned that there's not any like real way to actually get out of the dungeon without Uku in the first place.
Yes, that is true.
So I don't think that you
As far
could
as
get
my
all the way
knowledge.
back through the tunnel. So. Anyway, Andy is doing Elden Twilight right now, and Simi will be soon, but this is a very movement-intensive Twilight segment. There's a lot of... actually, one of the rooms that's going to come up here pretty soon, you'll see a lot of sort of difficult movement in this hotel up here. And so there's a very high skill ceiling in this segment, generally. Like, this is just indicative of how the movement goes in this segment, kind of.
Twilight Messenger is unfortunately being a bit rude to Simi there.
But yeah, as I said, there's like a million things to bonk on in this Hotel Elden, as they call it, amusingly. And so doing this quickly is somewhat difficult. I guess Andy is opting... Oh, right, he's on French, I guess.
Yes,
he's opting not to get the rupees because he's not French.
That is a good time to talk about that. Friends mentioned, by the way. So it was discovered recently, well, I guess it was known by the French community for a while, that there is a way, just by how the French language was coded, that you can say yes to fire to repair the cannon to go to City in the Sky. And if you don't have enough rupees, he'll tell you, oh, sorry, you're too poor. And then you can talk to him again, and it'll be like, all right. And he'll just repair the cannon for you.
Yeah,
So-
it's still technically a little bit faster, I want to say, to play on German. But, you know, not having to get rupees probably improves the consistency of the route a little bit.
Yeah, And if you're a newer player and you have the ability to get a French copy of the game, it is one less thing to think about, the rupee routing, really.
Yeah, how does that work exactly? So is it like there's a PAL version of the game, and then it's just like whatever region your Wii is set to determines like the language, or?
I use an NTSC copy. I'll let
Yeah.
anyone in chat to explain that one. I just use
PAL and
English.
Swiss. Okay, so I guess you do something with Swiss to change whatever the language is. But so if you just get like a PAL version of the game, then you can essentially just switch between languages, which is nice.
Andy getting bomb house skip, but unfortunately missing one of the tiers, so having to go back for it. Still faster than just letting the bomb house explode, though. And what happened there is there's a trigger at the top of the stairs that makes the bug run into the bomb house, but you're able to avoid that with a jump. I believe Andy did the wolf jump method which is a little bit harder, and you can circumnavigate that trigger to make the bug run away, and then you're able to intercept them before they enter the building. And once they explode, the house just kind of pops, and you're able to collect those tiers without going through the long sequence of the house exploding.
Yeah, the collision is still a little weird because the game doesn't really treat the houses already having exploded, but it just has kind of funky collision. It's not exactly the collision that it would have if you did the bomb house normally, but Simi getting some very interesting movement here.
Oh, unfortunate. Looks like he was able to save that a little bit. Oh, nice pot.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, did you bring that to show and tell today, Simi? That's very nice.
Well, somebody mentioned to me recently, I forget who it was, that you can bring pots onto the ropes in like Telmaswar.
I would believe that.
I'll be interested to see if any of the runners do that during MDH.
I am definitely going to be trying it the next time I'm in MDH, because that sounds very funny. And I don't know if you can
throw the pots while you're on the rope, but you can apparently
probably not.
Bring them onto the rope. Anyway, since Madeline didn't get Gorge Void earlier, she's gonna have to just go ahead and run all the way back over to Eldon, and then do what Simi and Andy did earlier, and do Rupee Roll to get over the fence, and then do an LJA over the Void to get to Kakariko. Andy is about to come up on probably the dumbest bug in Elden Twilight. I don't think anybody likes this bug.
Yeah, I believe it's lovingly called cluster bug.
Oh, right. Yes, I forgot.
Because there are
CF
a ton of enemies around it. Yes.
Yes, CF bug.
Yeah. Custard fudge.
Crimson flower. Anyway, the Fire Emblem mentioned.
Fire Emblem mentioned. Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
If you look at Simi's screen right now, they're going to be attempting the bomb house skip that Andy did earlier. I believe they already failed to get this small little jump as Wolf once, and they get it the second time. So you can run around this trigger, and then you can intercept the bug before it goes into the building, and then it's gone.
That was an excellent pop noise. I appreciated that.
Thank you. I hope it was well timed on stream too. I felt very good about it.
So Andy's going to go ahead and warp the meteor, which will allow him to do the rest of Linear Twilight. It's going to raise the water level and allow him to go ahead and get the Linear Vassal as well. And hopefully you can get a side hop here. He did not get it. Saves a few seconds if you get a side hop out of that cutscene, because you don't have to have them in the text. Also has some interesting effects with how the map looks. think Lake Hylia will look like it's still at low water level for the rest of the game if you skip that text. So, very interesting.
Is that what triggers that? Because I swear there were
Yes.
some times where it was empty and sometimes where it weren't, but there was no correlation in my head. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's that text. I used to think that it was the Rutella cutscene, but it's not. It's the text that Midna has there.
Midna just saying, "Hey, look, water." I guess Link takes out his map and gets his blue crayons in all the water. Do you think Link is a crayon man or a colored pencil man?
I have no idea. Link may
Madeline
not
successfully
draw.
getting rupee roll.
I mean, I guess Link does have the mortal draw, so you have to ask what he draws with, but...
True.
Although this Link won't have learned that yet, so...
His Kude draw.
Yeah, on French, what do they call it? Like the... It's the coup de grace? But isn't that for the, that's not the mortal draw, that's the ending blow?
That's final blow. Or ending blow.
Yeah,
Is it
okay.
final blow or ending blow?
It's ended... I think it's ending blow.
Oh no.
I swear it's ending blow.
We both
Everybody
play this
calls it
game, I
ending blow.
promise.
Everything on CSR says ending blow. And if you
Okay.
call like Moon Boots ending blow, it's ending blow. It has to be ending blow. I'm not misremembering this.
Well, now I want to call it final blow.
Yeah, I think it does say finish on screen when you're like targeting something. And I want to say that it's called finishing blow on like Skyward Sword or something. I don't remember the exact details.
That may be true. Skyward Sword mentioned in the chat. Your Ravage Link, where are you? We need Skyward Sword facts.
Yeah, I may be spreading disinformation on the internet. I don't know. Hopefully not.
I think it's ending blow in Skyward Sword since the trick is called extending blow. Thank you, Nimbus. Resident Skyward Sword world record holder Nimbus. That's not true.
Yeah, for those who don't know, this is sort of off topic, but in Skyward Sword, this is very funny trick where you can kind of just like do an ending blow sideways across like basically an entire map to skip a bunch of stuff. It's pretty cool looking. If you haven't seen it before, you should look that up at some point. It's kind of funny.
Andy getting a 2-frame side hop to get to this bug on the side of the waterfall pretty fast.
Did you say it was 2 frames?
I believe so. Is it 3 active frames for that side hop?
I think it's 3. I don't remember exactly like where the frames are in the set of like 6 or so frames that you can get the side hop, but
It is 3.
okay, B says it's 3, so
Ladybug. The lily pad bugs being nice to Andy. Not too terribly nice, but nice enough. Teabag, I don't know what 3-frame up, 3-frame bottom means.
3 of the frames work and you land on the upper part, and then 3 of the frames that you can side hop don't work and you'll fall all the way down.
I see. I'm learning today.
Yeah. I want to say that the 3 earliest frames are the ones that make you fall down, and then the 3 that are later get you on the ledge, but I don't remember if that's actually correct or not. So somebody in chat could probably tell us, but fine. But 3 of the 6 frames work, I know that much.
Oh no, Simi failing the IRL mailman skip. Saving a couple seconds there.
I mean, given how bad he is at normal mailman skip, I'm not too surprised.
It was the postman in real life giving him more mail. It's an eviction notice. Oh no. It's not.
Oh man. Andy is coming up on the most interesting part of the entire run, where we run in a straight line across 2 fields.
Yeah. Yeah, Simi, if you open that mail and it's not yours, I'm gonna have to report you to the U.S. Postal Service.
In New Zealand.
Yes.
At least I think Timmy is in New Zealand.
The U.S. stands for New Zealand.
Oh my god. You stealing? You stealing mail.
You stealing piece
U.S.
of shit.
mail.
USPS.
Oh man. It's nacho mail. As we used to say. Anyway.
Nacho mail.
I
Yeah.
feel like nacho mail would be it would be kind of gross. You know, having just chips and cheese sauce basically in an envelope. But anyway.
I'm just thinking of a picture of Jack Black from Nacho Libre.
Oh no.
Nacho mayo. Madeline also getting a very clean bomb house skip. They did the human variant, which just cost the time of 2 transforms and setting up the LJA, but is quite a bit safer.
Yep, and so Andy is going to continue his quest of running through areas to get to this one bug. It's the main reason that we go here. The game wants us to get the Castletown portal, which is why it puts a bug in Castletown to force you to get that. So, anyway, we have to run through a bunch of areas and get this bug, but then the bug density will start increasing again pretty soon, which is nice.
The bug density per capita.
Yes, there will be 1 area pretty soon, but there will be 4 bugs. Nice. And that area is kind of an auto-scroller, and it's hard to lose a bunch of time there, which is good. Ooh, Simi getting the double hit on the bugs. Very nice.
Yeah, that was very nice. Simi pushing into one of the lily pads to set up the RNG for that double hit. Oh, Madeline unfortunately getting trolled by one of the steam vents and now has to dig out the bug.
If she can find it. There it is. Oh no, it ran back under the vent.
This bug being very rude to Madeline right now.
Yes.
And as Andy goes into the card flight section of Linear Twilight, a tip for all you casual players out there: you can turn on your senses and you can target the bugs. You can, take that one to the bank.
Did people not know that?
No, everybody knows that. I've just, just in case anybody didn't know that, I just,
Okay. Well, apparently Andy didn't know that because he did go after the 1 bug without targeting it, which I think is actually slightly faster, but still.
Oh.
Didn't know it there either. He's trying to get this bug by not targeting it, which is
Pegaphone.
not working right now.
He heard
very
me
well,
and
but-
wanted to prove me wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much time that's supposed to save over just waiting to be able to target them. Because you can usually target them without having to, wait very long in your normal dashing path, but...
Yeah, I believe the first bug you just kind of dash past, and the bugs kind of have a rubber banding effect inside of that section, so it'll catch back up to you by the time you get to the 3rd one.
Yeah, usually the way I do it is I cut the corner to skip the first bug, target the second bug, and then target the third bug, and then target the first bug, and then, continue going through the process of getting all the bugs.
Yeah.
I don't know if that made any sense. Anyway, Andy is fighting the big bug now, and everybody should be able to hear a kazoo playing in their heads.
Kazoo time.
Kazoo time. Beast is playing the kazoo in spirit. Anyway, so the fastest way to fight this bug is to go ahead and hit it as it's charging towards you, and then grab it again quickly instead of it having to like fly all the way back up and back down each cycle. And there's other things that you can do to save time, like keeping it on the camera the whole time, as compared to waiting until it gets into the right spot, essentially. And he kind of did a mix of those things. So, pretty fast boss bug. And yeah, that'll be the end of Linear Twilight, which is the longest Twilight in the game, and thankfully the last one that we actually have to finish. So the rest of the game will be just movement between areas where we have already cleared Twilight and other various dungeons and whatnot. So.
While Simi is in Castletown, I'm going to talk about the dash canceling. Since you move so slow in Castletown as a wolf, he's just going to constantly be spamming A and B to dash and then cancel with the B attack, and Wolf Link is just screaming his head off. Bark, 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 bark.
So now that Andy has completed Linear Twilight, the next thing that we're going to try to do is to beat Lakebed, which will unlock Midnight's Desperate Hour, which we have to clear to beat the game anyway, and also unlock certain things like going to the desert. Unfortunately, not getting the rupees there. Or the damage, unfortunately. That's not good. Well, I guess he wasn't going for the rupees. He may have been going for some other movement. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
that
he's
may have
unfriend,
been
so
an
he doesn't need the
intentional jump
rupees.
down into the water.
Well, I think he's probably trying to get damaged here, unless he's scared of the Shadow Beast.
Yeah. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's going safe into the Shadow Beast fight, because it is a little scary if you get them off cycle.
Anyway,
But not before singing a song.
yep. Yeah, we have to get a golden wolf so that we can get the ending blow so that we can beat the game. There is one required use of the ending blow in the game, and it is the last hit on Ganondorf. And so we have to go ahead and get a golden wolf somewhere since we didn't get the one that we're supposed to get in Faron. And then we're going to get that later in the run after Midnight's Desperate Hour, so that we can go ahead and have ending blow for the finale. There's another Howling Stone that we will howl at, but not actually to get a golden wolf.
Fake howl.
Unfortunately, yeah, it would be nice if we could like have that one be the one that we howl at, except for the fact that it would be extremely difficult and waste a lot of time to actually get that golden wolf, because Kakariko is not in the right state to be able to get the Snow Peak wolf.
Right, because each of those Howling Stones spawn a specific golden wolf. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. So the one here in Upper Zorth River will spawn a golden wolf very coincidentally right next to where we spawn coming out of Midnight's Desperate Hour in sort of the West Castletown field area.
Andy now setting up a specific side hop so he can kind of glance into the fight, the barrier for the fight, and then turn into wolf so he can enter the Shadow Beast fight as wolf here.
Yeah, and we're doing all of this in order to get a bomb bag. The other bomb bags, well, one of them we need bombs to get, which is the Goron in Zor's Domain. And the other one, we would have to beat Goron Mines to get. So they're both very inconvenient. So we need to clear out these Shadow Beasts for Isa here in order to get a bomb bag, which the bombs will be useful for various things in the run. Notably, they'll allow us to skip getting the Zora's armor, because if we have water bombs, we can do a trick called swimming with water bombs to refill our air meter underwater pretty much whenever we want. That'll allow us to beat Morpheal without the Zora armor. It'll also allow us to beat Zan without the Zora armor. And bombs will just generally be useful a few different places in the run as well. Normally we can't actually beat that Shadow Beast fight as Wolf. There's a few different reasons. The first of which is that we're not really supposed to be able to transform into wolf and then go into the cutscene. But with that specific movement that we did, we can do that. But the other thing is that we haven't done Min's Desperate Hour yet, so we don't have Mindon back, which means that we can't mid charge the Shadow Beasts, which is one of the two normal ways that you can kill them. It's either with a human spin attack, you can kill the last Shadow Beast, or a mid charge. Normally, the last Shadow Beast can't die except by those two methods, but by doing that specific B attack movement, basically, we could go ahead and clear it out as Wolf Link without the mid charge, which is very nice, and allows us to go ahead and actually do some funny stuff with Isa, where we can dupe the bomb bag there, which will be nice because we can keep the bomb bag without having to get another one. And we're going to see here, Andy is going to continue to try to set up Impy Lake Hylia here. And so the reason that he wants to be on low health here is because he needs to game over, as I mentioned earlier, in order to set up Impy Lake Hylia. And basically all he needs to do here is just bonk out of bounds. So if he voids and game overs out of bounds, which looks like he got, this will go ahead and respawn him in Lake Hylia with the same state that the minigame would have had in Zora's River. And as I mentioned before, Lake Hylia doesn't really like that state, doesn't really know what to do with it. And it's just going to freak out, and there will be no water. Which is very convenient, because we can use that fact to get into Lake Bed.
Midna was very thirsty.
She just drank all the water. That's right.
That is my only contribution to this trick explanation.
Yeah, it looks like Andy is going for the setup rather than doing the other method of this. And so basically he's going to try to get a very specific angle, which he got very quickly there. He'll do some specific movement in order to get into a precise position with a precise angle and just kind of walk into Lake Bed by jumping down, hopping off a pillar, and pressing B at the right time. Very good execution right there. That was very nice. Fast ELH. I usually do that way slower than that.
Yeah. The angle buffer is probably the part that takes the longest on that section, and it seemed like he liked the angle that he got right off the bat, so he was able to get a very fast enter Lake Hylia, enter Lake Bed Temple. How much time does ELH save over the old route? I'm gonna let chat answer that question.
Yeah, I don't know what the exact number is anymore, but it's some amount of time. And also, the route just feels more natural, honestly, doing it this way compared to how you did it.
Does flow a bit
splitting up linear, or splitting up like that is. Sorry.
Yeah, 18 seconds. Yeah, the new angle buffer setup, I think, actually loses time from the older method, but ELH over pillar clip is about 18 seconds, and most of that comes from being able to have the bombs for the Deku Toad fight, so that you can get the zero cycle, and when he opens his mouth to scream at you the first time, you can very quickly pull out a bomb and throw the boomerang into Deku Toad's mouth.
Yes, the zero cycle that all of us totally get all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody ever fails it, ever.
Yeah. And Andy is going to show us right now.
So hopefully Andy has heard us and knows that the expectations are that nobody ever fails this trick, so we will see it here today, right?
Commentator's blessing.
That's right.
And also, as a result of us getting the early boss flags earlier, Andy is able to enter this fight backwards. As usually there's a barrier that blocks you, but you can just look up.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting because if we didn't have boss flags here with the bomb bag, we actually would be able to get into this fight the normal way. We would just have to empty our bomb bag earlier and go ahead and get water bombs and LJ over the railing. To be able to sink down and blow up the rock to go in the normal way. I think the Gorge Pillar Clip route would not be able to do that because it wouldn't have the bomb bag at that point. But
Andy, unfortunately, a little bit late, it looked like, throwing the boomerang to get the zero cycle Deku Toad. but he is able to get the one cycle with a series of precise slashes.
Simi is my spirit animal, not even going for plumb cutscene skip. I appreciate that.
Some tricks just aren't worth the effort, man.
I keep trying to ad-lib it to like figure out exactly how it works, but I'm too lazy to like actually practice it. It's not. I mean, I don't think it's like super hard, but it's kind of just annoying. I think that I want to say that the cutscene's like radius kind of moves around a little bit around Plum when Plum is flying around. I don't know if that's actually accurate or not, but I think we have like the trigger visualizer now, and I want to say that the animation I saw of that was that it moved around a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Some amazing
Anyway.
decomp work being done by the community for the practice ROM. It's unfathomable the amount of time these people are putting into making the practice ROM for this game just amazing. I feel spoiled by it, honestly. Jake, what are you doing?
Andy
Jake
should
is absolutely
totally just
trolling Andy
just
right
do
now.
just do the normal Jake LJA since Jake is there. Unfortunate.
Wow. So that little Helmosaur is named Jake, and I think just wanted to be involved and wanted to shout out. So shout out to Jake.
Well, Andy does run Wii at some point, so you know Jake was just thinking that this was a Wii run. Obviously,
He just wanted to give Andy good RNG.
that's right. He wanted to give Andy a hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what Jaquade mentioned is in the Wii route, we can't do LJAs with a boomerang, so we need to use Jake as kind of a springboard to get up onto that broken pillar. And Simi getting first try at ELH, very nice.
Yeah, that trick is harder than it looks.
A lot harder. Less so with the angle buffer. The angle buffer, shout out to Simi for a lot of the work on finding that. Or excuse me, not Simi, Nimzo. I have too many names in my brain right now. Shout out to Nimzo for the angle buffer for ELH. Almost made me want to learn the route. Almost.
Yeah, if you can get the setup correctly, you have
go.
3 frames in which to drop the bomb, which is nice. Andy not even going for the bomb pull there because the eyeball is going crazy. So unfortunately, he's going to have to do the Morpheal second phase from the ground here, which is a little bit tougher. But usually Morpheal will behave, mostly okay if this happens. Andy is just gonna hope that Morpheal doesn't swim like super high up at the start of the second phase.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks like it'll be fine.
Yeah. So as we mentioned earlier, this is possible by the properties of the water bombs. And
I curse. I must have jinxed it.
we are cursing Andy and Lakebed Temple very much so.
And now Morpheal is turning around as well. This is lovely. Okay, this should. There we go. Okay.
Now he has one bomb RNG, right? That's how this works?
No. I don't think it's possible to do one bomb from the ground. I mean, maybe somebody could like try to prove it, but
by one bomb, I just mean the 2 regrabs.
yeah, but this looks like it'll be a 3 bomb for Andy, so not too bad.
Andy
Assuming he
doing
gets
his
the
best with what
regrab.
he was given, for sure.
Yeah, there's not really anything he could have done with that RNG. Like he wouldn't have been able to get the bomb pull before the second phase. So he had to do it from the ground, and then Morpheal just swam up too high, and there's really nothing he could have done.
Sydney also he was a little early, I think it was on the 0 cycle.
Like I said, nobody ever fails it.
Yeah, it is 100% optimized trick.
So Madeline showing off that even on the Gorge Pillow Clip route, you still go for the bomb duping. Unfortunately, messing up the movement here. But yeah, if you hit both of the Shadow Beasts on the final B attack before you do the jump attack to like press A bunch of times and get the kill on the last one, then you won't actually be able to grab onto it for a second. There we go. She got it the second time.
Yeah.
Um,
That was
so you have to
very
be
calculated,
careful.
that movement.
Right. Simi unfortunately has a lot of bombs here, so he just has to drop them all in the water. Thankfully, in Lake Bed, we have a bunch of time to just drop bombs pretty much everywhere. And you can drop a few bombs on your way into Lake Bed itself, doing the Empty Lake Hylia trick, the bomb boost. But not all of us are confident enough in the basics of the trick in order to like add bombs in there. So
So it's gonna now. It looks like Madeline is a bit behind, just now getting the ease up bomb boost, bomb dupe. Too many phrases. But now, since they have already done Pillar Clip to get the claw shot, they're going to be able to go to Snow Peak early, and they've already done half of Lake Bed. So the routes are going to change a little bit as we see Andy going through Minda's Desperate Hour here. And Madeline will be going up to Snow Peak.
yeah, I don't know exactly how to compare between the two routes right now, but I think that Madeline is at least a little bit behind Simikins.
Yes. I would say the run up to Snow Peak and Snow Peak itself is roughly the amount of time that Morpheal and Minda's Desperate Hour take.
Okay.
I guess that would also include the ease of bomb dupe. So I would say that Madeline may actually be a little bit ahead of Simi.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell between the two routes until they start to line up again.
Because unfortunately, it isn't as easy as just copying one section of Snow Peak and then pasting another section of Lake Bed between these two things. Because going to Lake Bed early and getting the claw shot, the timing is a bit different there for Madeline as well.
Looks pretty good for Simi, as long as Morpheal doesn't turn around. Good.
As long as Morpheal notices him. There we go.
No, he'll be fine. Even if she didn't stop, you would have been able to grab from there.
Yeah, the radius for Morpheal to notice you is quite large.
That was a very bold lead grab, I will say. I didn't mention it, but I guess Madeline must have howled at the Howling Stone. She did a trick earlier at the start of Snow Peak called Map Glitch to disable a void trigger that would normally be there. But unfortunately, it would also unload the loading zone for this cave here. So we actually have to do some other loading zone in order to get that loading zone back, basically. And so one of the ones that still works is the Howling Stone, which is just very conveniently right there. And so we can just howl to go through the loading zone and then leave without howling again. And then go into Snow Peak Cave.
You need that bus from
Andy getting the quick climb there. I don't always see that one, so it's cool when it happens. Andy also going into a, I don't know how infamous it is at this point, but a sort of infamous part of the run, rope tower, which is kind of BS sometimes. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. The ropes notoriously don't want to work sometimes, and you'll just jump past them. But usually people will be just fine getting on the ropes. There's a bunch of small optimizations in here in terms of jump attacking some of the enemies, skipping some ropes by doing, as Andy showed off, a couple jumps across a platform. You can skip some ropes up here too. So Andy didn't quite get the second dash, but jump attack at the very end. Pretty nice rope tower from Andy there. And there's another thing up at the top here, where Andy can get an early wind cycle if he goes fast enough. You can get an early wind cycle on the bridge at the end and save a few seconds. So hopefully he'll get that. If you mess up the movement, you kind of just gotta wait. But
Ooh.
So he's gonna have to wait here, and he definitely should wait too, because the other thing is that if he voids here, don't go for that, please. Calling the wind again to get this to come back up immediately. I've heard that doesn't actually save time, but it does look kind of funny and is a nice use of tech. With the angle cut that he got there, if he voided, he would have been put all the way back at the stairs. So it's definitely better at that point, especially once you've already bonked, to kind of go safe the bridge there. Especially since the bridge can do funky things sometimes, even if it's not your fault.
Yeah, Minda's Desperate Hour is one of those splits that is a pretty tame part of the run, and for that reason, it's some places that you can get a lot of silly time loss because you kind of turn your brain off a little bit after the intense sequence of ELH, Deku Toad, and then Morpheal. So it's easy to just do a little bit of bad speed tech and lose a couple. Yeah.
Very quickly lose like 40 seconds. Definitely done that before, so I get what you're saying. Yeah, also, Madeline didn't do blind snowboarding, which is interesting.
No, she didn't. I didn't know if that was intentional or not. I had to AFK for a second. Yeah, in my PB, I got bridged twice.
Yeah, the collision of that bridge can be funky. Sometimes you'll like get turned around and be facing right. Or you'll stumble on the bridge and won't be able to jump. Or occasionally you can just phase right through the bridge, or you'll get a jump off a random spot on the bridge and it won't make any sense. Or you'll fall through the bridge. There's so many things that can happen. So, yeah, usually it's fine, but sometimes it can be a bit of a jerk. Madeline will be going for one of a couple ways to get through Snow Peak here. This one is Ice Cliff. I imagine that we'll see Simi and or Andy go for Ladder Freeze Art Cancel, which is technically slightly faster if you get a first try. Ice Cliff is probably, well, I mean, it doesn't require any frame per inputs. I would probably say it's a little bit easier, but I don't know.
It is easier and also quite a bit more risky if you fail it a couple times, because if you fail it, that means that you also get frozen, which your life is very valuable inside of Snow Peak, because the kind of the gimmick of this dungeon is to get the soup, and that's how you retain your health. So you kind of, especially on Pillar Clip route, you only go through it with 3 hearts, so it is a bit scary, but. Madeline getting Freeze Art Skip and now entering the Dark Hammer fight. And the only reason that we're in Snow Peak is to get the Ball and Chain, which is used to hit Zant twice. Among some other things, but that's the important part.
Yeah, we also use it for a couple places to save a little bit of time, but the only thing that justifies us going way out of our way to grab it is that we have to do a couple hits in Palace of Twilight. There's no other way to do those bits of damage, and we do have to beat Zant to beat the game. So, for now, maybe somebody will find early Hyrule Castle during this tournament. That would be nice.
As much as the community likes Snow Peak Ruins as a dungeon, I'm sure that the any% runners would appreciate not having to go there. because it is quite time consuming.
Simi demonstrating that the ropes sometimes just don't work. There we go. Anyway, since Madeline is not on the French version of the game, she's going to be getting a couple of orange rubies here. These are some of the fastest rubies that you can get. We have to get to 300 rubies by the time we go to City in the Sky, which will be not too long from now. We have one more dungeon until then. And so we just have to gather a bunch of rupees, and getting 200 in Snow Peak is very convenient.
And it looks like Simi is on German, so he will also be need to be looking at his rupee count for the Sky Cannon. Oh, nice getting a nice bridge jump there.
Yeah, I thought with some of his movement that he wouldn't be able to get there in time, but looked like he had plenty of time, so it's interesting.
Being a veteran runner like Simikins is, he probably knows exactly what the bridge can look like to still make it, even though it's going down. And now, as mentioned earlier, Madeline is back into Lakebed Temple to dump her bombs and to fight Morpheal. Dump her bombs for water bombs so that she can fight Morpheal, is how that sentence should have gone.
Yeah, there's this very convenient waterfall to just be able to spam the bomb button and drop all of the bombs.
I believe how that works is that the bomb goes out of bounds and then... Or, no, the bomb hits the water and then ceases to exist.
Right. That's what happens with normal bombs. They land in water, they just go away. And so normally you can only pull out 3 at a time and have to wait for them to explode or like blow them up or something. But with the water, you can just keep pulling them out pretty much infinitely until you run out. Andy is doing blind snowboarding, so he skipped the messenger fight by doing an LJA to void out and get up into this cutscene without having to fight the Shadow Beast. And because he did not fight the Shadow Beast, the snowstorm hasn't cleared, so he actually is not going to be able to see very well, which is why we call it blind snowboarding. For the most part, it's not a huge deal because we just know exactly where we're going to go. But on the shortcut, it can get a little bit dicey if you're not paying attention. Usually not too bad if you practice it a few times, but runners have been known to occasionally mess it up.
Madeline, unfortunately, failing the jump down to the boss key skip, which I'm not sure we talked about when Simi and Andy did it.
No, I don't think we did.
So basically,
we kind of just Go ahead. No, you explain it. Sorry.
Okay, my turn. Okay.
Yes.
So Madeline is going to do an LJA onto this side of the bridge, and then you can drop down a specific angle to get. Oh, unfortunate.
To fall through the bridge.
Yes, to fall through the bridge. Yes, it is all RNG manipulation. She's going to get a 0 bomb now. So ideally, you drop down there on the bridge, clipped into the side, so that you can do a couple backflips and line yourself up to get in a specific spot where you can drop down into the boss room.
And doing that skips having to go all the way out of your way to get the boss key, which would be over in kind of the west side of the dungeon. Is very time consuming.
Yeah.
To grab.
Yeah, some of these dungeons, the boss keys are on the way to the bosses, like in Forest Temple and kind of in AG, having the boss key unintendedly, but having the boss key on the way to the spinner. But in Lakebed Temple, it is very out of the way.
Yeah, I think that we would have to like actually activate the water in East Wing maybe in order to go over to West Wing with the water to grab the boss key or something like that. It would not be fast. Let's put it that way.
It has been a long time since I've actually done the entirety of Lakebed Temple, so I'm gonna take your word for it.
Madeline needs to aim a little bit further to the right on the LJ. This might work.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Right, this looks good, as long as she doesn't move too fast here. Okay. I guess that's pretty lenient. You don't have to adjust
There
to
you
the
go.
side. So... And the setup does look a little bit different there to clip into the boss room because the bridge is turned a different way, I think. So if you haven't moved the bridge at all, you can kind of just like hold upright a little bit to be able to clip in. But since Madeline did turn the bridge, I believe,
Yes.
she has to do a different method to clip in.
Yes.
It's been a while since I ran Pillar Clip Road.
No, you were right. Since Madeline had to turn the bridge 180 degrees, the collision is a little bit different, and you need to don the iron boots and drop in a slightly different angle to get a little bit faster of a drop, so you don't get pushed out. Ooh,
I don't think that worked for Simi.
no.
Yeah. You gotta aim a little further right than that. It's pretty lenient, but the angle is not, like, completely free.
Oh, now he's getting keysed.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Oh
hate to see it.
no. That's, like, the worst way to fail that.
Well, now Simi doesn't have to worry about being blind during snowboarding, and maybe can get some extra rupees on the route.
True.
Because notably, if you don't kill the messengers, the rupees along snowboarding don't spawn.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are a bunch of rupees. You can get like 100 rupees on the way down. Between the treetop rupees and the red rupee on the shortcut.
Yes, Simi
It's
and
a
his
bunch of-
Simi and his tribute to Waterproof Teabag, failing messenger skip in the exact same way that he did. Madeline
from
looks
Madeline.
like a successful 2-bomb, getting the re-grab there. And Andy, on his way to Arbiter's Ground, is going to do his best Solid Snake impression.
What a thrill.
Is it Solid Snake or Liquid Snake? I don't know. I lost the thread after reading the cliff notes of the first game.
I think the third one is Solid Snake.
I haven't played any of the games.
And then the old guy is Big Boss.
Big
I wanna
Boss.
say. I don't remember. Birdie apparently has a fever.
Is that a lyric in the song?
Huh?
Is that a lyric in the song?
Having a fever?
Birdie has a fever?
I don't think so.
Oh. That would be cool.
The ladder in Metal Gear Solid 3 is substantially longer than the ladder that we... Even though that ladder is pretty long in Lake Hylia, it's not quite long.
Yeah.
Oh, the third game is Big Boss. Okay, I see. Well...
I should play these games at some point.
It goes to show what I know about Metal Gear Solid lore.
Yeah. So Simi now on snowboarding, able to get a 20 rupee. I don't think he got the 50 in the trees.
No, I don't think he got any of the treetop rupees.
But
hopefully not going to fail here. Okay, good.
That is one upside to failing the messenger skip, is that the rupees are along the snowboarding route, and you can take advantage of those.
Also, being able to see is nice.
Yeah.
Makes it much harder to avoid.
Also, Madeline, I'm sorry to hear about your fever. Hopefully it dies down a little bit. Maybe put wet a towel, put it in the freezer, and then wrap it around your head after Arbiter's Grounds or something.
Yeah, unfortunately, there aren't any very long cutscenes until probably the end of City, so
QWERTY's desperate hour.
That's right. Oh, Simi also going for the ice clip here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame him. I have trouble with ladder freeze art skipping sometimes.
Yeah. And we were kind of talking over when Andy did it, but it looked like he got it first or second try. It's pretty fast.
Yeah. Still find it very odd that we can kind of just clip into the ice block for no reason.
Yeah. I don't think
For
that's what
people-
they meant by ice physics.
Yeah, I think Simi sliding around, trying to roll over the door is what they meant by ice physics. But yes, TP is a very broken game. It's just not broken in ways that make it super fast compared to other games.
As we
So
can see
there's
by
like
Andy having a very hard time getting through this gate. So there is a very small spot where the collision can kind of push you past the gate. And it's a little bit easier to do as human, but it is faster to do as wolf.
Yeah, and the reason it's easier to do as human in large part is because when you're Wolf Link will like kind of try to look at the I think this is what happens. He tries to look at the boars that are over there, and so it makes it so it's very difficult to like actually clip through to maintain the right angle that you need to clip through. Whereas if you're Human Link, it doesn't mess with your angle that the boars are nearby, and so you can kind of just roll straight, and it's more consistent if a little bit slower.
And now Andy is going to be doing the second and final instance of map glitch, which is going to let him jump under the map and enter the King Bublin fight from below, because the trigger for this fight surprisingly goes very, very far down.
I think it goes infinitely up and down, in fact. As far as I'm aware. That was pretty far right for the jump attack, but the trigger is huge, so it worked out.
It is Andy. He knows what he's doing. Don't worry.
Yeah. Interesting switching to the I don't know if all of the I think the last one was the only one that was clockwise. Actually, I think isn't that a thing that like the counterclockwise spin attacks do more hits on King Bulblin or something? Because they take longer?
Yes. It is something to do with King Bublin's hitbox that the counterclockwise spin attacks are able to hit him 3 times. And the opposite is true for Stalord. Actually, I think both spin attacks hit Stalord 3 times, but the clockwise is faster.
Yes, I think that's correct. The clockwise is slightly faster. So yeah, it pays a little bit in terms of frame data to be able to know how to spin both ways, but I think on balance, if you had to pick one, it would probably be better to naturally spin counterclockwise. To make the King Bulblin fights easier.
Yeah. So I was always a clockwise spinner for my spin attacks, and I did not know that there was a difference until I started speedrunning this game this year.
Yeah, thankfully I spin counterclockwise, so I haven't had to...
It just feels so unnatural to do counterclockwise.
It feels so unnatural to do clockwise. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like spin dexterous, you know, I need to be like ambidextrous with spinning, and I just can't do it. Andy unfortunately voiding, trying to do the human movement through the first room of Arbiter's Grounds.
Yeah. So the sand is a little odd here. I believe what happens there is you need to kind of buffer a roll after the jump so that you roll immediately into the sand. And you need to do that after the apex of your jump. And you kind of just fall in the hole if you're unsuccessful in that. And he needs to be a little careful with his health here, getting a little mobbed by those enemies.
Yeah, thankfully, I think he probably knows about the guaranteed heart in front of the chest that we're about to go to. Although he got a heart there. Yeah. Still probably be better. It's pretty fast to go ahead and get the heart from the skull. But he's skipping it, though. A little bit of a bold move. I mean, because if he gets hit by one of the Moldorms... No, if he gets hit by one of the Moldorms in the Po1 skip room before being able to do the trick, he'll be on critical health and won't
that's
be able
true.
to do the upwarp roll very easily. So probably should have just spent the half second or so grabbing the heart, but we'll see. Maybe the Moldorms will be nice. It also just pays in general having hearts in arbiters. Like there's a trick that we do that saves a little bit of time to, get off turning like one of the switches in one of the rooms by having a rat hit us, and so we want to be able to take damage for that. Poe 3 room, there's a bunch of Stalkins that can hit you, and so ideally you have a little bit more health than Andy has right now. So. There is a guaranteed heart, I believe, on one of the skulls that's like kind of on top of a ledge in the Poe 1 skip room. So if he gets damaged, he can still like get a heart to be able to do Poe 1 skip, but it would be a little bit slow. Hopefully he just doesn't get hit here and can do the Poe 1 skip cleanly.
For some reason, I thought the Moldorms did a quarter health.
Well, maybe they do, and
oh, Andy trying to do that a little bit faster.
they do a quarter health, so yeah, you're right.
It's not. Ooh, well.
Well, now he will have to grab the.
Yeah.
So you're right. He would have been fine. I think that 1 1/4 health doesn't count as critical health, and so he probably would have been able to still do the skip. But now he should. Okay, he's gonna opt to game over instead. That's probably not a bad idea, since you want health for later. But it would probably be a little bit faster to go ahead and just try to grab the heart if you were like confident about not getting hit.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible he also just didn't know offhand where the guaranteed heart was, and it would be a little faster just to game over, since he knows that'll put him back at full health.
Yeah, but that's what I was mentioning, Teabag. There's a skull that's kind of on top of this ledge up here that you can grab. It's very nice.
Poe 1, unfortunately, giving him a bit more trouble.
Yeah, I want to say that the skull respawns every time you void out in this room too. So if you like aren't getting hit by the Moldorms a bunch, you should just never actually die.
And he finally gets it. So what this lets us do is the Poe door only checks if you have 3 of the Poes. Specifically the last 3. It does not check if you have the first one. So we're able to do Poe 1 skip and get on that, clip up on that pillar and go into the Poe 4 room backwards. And that lets us skip the first Poe.
Yeah, I mean, we're technically going into the room forwards, but we're, going in the Poe rooms out of order. And we can get the scent from the Poe 4, which is nice. Because we actually do need to get the Poe scent to be able to get the second Poe, which is why we have to go out of order in a specific way.
Simi not KB3 skipping. He did kill KB3. And that is KB4, their 4th twin brother, getting up. They're quadruplet. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes. I'm now thinking about Shadow the Hedgehog, and now how the clone of Shadow the Hedgehog, and why it's not just called Shadow 2. That is all. Yeah, unfortunately, that Poe 4 RNG being very bad, that happened to me too, where they just kind of kept spinning around you and decided to stop after like 10 seconds.
Yeah, they spin in like groups of 4, so I wasn't counting, but you hope for 4 on each of the cycles, but it can get pretty bad sometimes and go up to like 8, 12, 16. Okay, so Teabag is saying that he got 12, so 12 is pretty bad, but it's not. There have been worse. I think some people have gotten 20 before. I've definitely gotten 16. It kind of just sucks, though, because you can't really control it. There are other parts of the fight that you can control, but you can't control that.
So now with a Madeline finish with MDH and into Arbiter's grounds, or the desert rather, our runners are synced up on their routes, and we can see just how the pacing is going in the race. Looks like Madeline is about 3 or 4 minutes behind Simi, and Simi is probably about the same behind Andy. Maybe a bit more.
Yeah, I would say probably 4.5 minutes behind. I mean, it's hard to tell though because Andy messed up Poen skip for a while. So if Simi gets a fast Poen skip, then he may be closer than I think. I keep forgetting that Andy is on French and like I'm questioning like why is he skipping that route? And it's like he's on French. Just need to remember eventually.
I feel like his hesitation in the item wheel was him forgetting it himself and having a contemplation on whether or not to get that rupee.
Maybe so.
See if the Moldorms are nice to Simi here. Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah, people have a variety of different ways that they do Poen skip, so I can't really critique how people do it. I know I don't really try to turn the camera there, though, but I guess Simi does.
Oh, is he gonna go for the strat?
Do it.
Yes.
JD got yesterday. No, Simi.
So this is an old school strat that JDLM also did earlier this week in his run against Anarakis. And Simi giving up on it. He got scared.
I'm not entirely sure
That's
that
right.
Simi like really knows how to do it because I don't think that he's been around and doing this like quite long enough to. But maybe. I mean, the upwarp method was in like 2018, and I don't know how seriously Simi had run GameCube before that, but maybe he had. Well, I guess either GameCube or Wii.
Po 1 skip giving Simi a similar amount of trouble as it gave Andy.
Oh, that's. I mean, so Vidandra, I take your point, but he also did like kind of do the boomerang aiming thing, which looks like Po and skip for a second there. So I'm not entirely sure that he was just trying to gain more height.
Let's say it's both, so everybody can be right.
I think he was thinking about it. Just wanted to see what we would say on commentary. Check something.
Just wanted to give Jaquaid flashbacks. Why are we being mean to Jaquaid?
Flashbacks to what? I never did that method. Like, what are you talking about?
Is this an HD thing that I'm too SD to understand?
No, so HD didn't ever do it that way either. Technically, we did because we didn't have to slide. We had a way of like being able to stand up on the thing. But yeah, I think like Simi's first Twilight Princess runs were after the upwarp was found. At least his first ones on Speedrun.com. So I suspect that he doesn't actually know super well how to do the old method. You have to be like have been around for a really long time at this point to know how to do it. Oh, maybe he does.
Oh, the
trolled by the
Moldorm.
mold arm. Okay, all right, fair enough. I'm interested to know why Simi bothered learning that method if he never has actually really had to do it. But anyway. I mean, I guess playing on the Wii version of the game, it's still not super easy to do the upwarp. You can kind of like, I think, go over there as Wolf, and then just transform and do the upwarp. But it's a little bit trickier than just LJing over there, which is like you can use to have very nice setups. Anyway, I'll be interested to see if Andy goes for the Death Sword skip here.
I believe Andy does go for Death Sword skip.
Yeah. Well, it's also interesting because he has to like view this race in the context of there are 4 other racers that still have to race. So even if he's like fairly far ahead now, he still wants to get the best time he possibly can rather than just beating Simi and Madeline, so that he can like make sure that he's in the top 2 finishers. He's on pretty good pace right now, I believe.
Yeah, that is a good point that you mentioned. To reiterate, this is only half of the last chance pool, so there are 4 other racers that are not a part of this stream that these 3 are racing against.
Right. And he will be going for Death Sword skip.
Nice skull.
Which I respect, but
Nice Moldorm.
very nice Death Sword skip. It might be a little bit more interesting if he goes for Stallard skip or not. I mean, if you're thinking like Andy is, and your calculus is I need to be in the top 2 finishers, and you look around and everybody else in the last chance pool doesn't have sub 3, and your run even without Stallard skip is like plausibly sub 3. It wouldn't be insane to like not go for Stallard skip, but I assume that he'll be going for it.
Oh, for sure. And I think Andy is quite comfortable with Stallard skip. I believe he went for it in both both the seeding and his pools race. And Stallard skip, comparatively to Death Sword skip, saves a lot more time. So I think
It's also a lot harder, but yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But I
mean,
think
if it starts going long, you can lose a lot of time.
Yeah. Even if you're not super comfortable with it, I think going for it at least once is good in a race context.
Yeah, at a certain point, if you waste enough bombs, you kind of just have to give up and start going for spinner strats, but... Anyway.
A little bit of speed tech from Simi. He jump attacked the Poe while it was invulnerable because that aggroes him a little bit sooner and lets him attack you so that you can hit him back a little bit sooner than you're supposed to.
Teabag impressed by the 1-frame skull pickup. It's very nice.
I have a 1-frame cat pickup, and now my cat is sitting with me.
Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, she does this thing where she plays around my legs, and then I try to pick her up, and she runs away. So I have to be a little quick.
Simi's unfortunately short 1 rupee right now. Presumably he knows about the rupees outside of Death Sword, but you could also get this blue from the skull here. He's skipping the skull, so I assume that he knows about the 1 rupees, the green rupees outside of Death Sword's room. I think those are in the pots to the left of the door.
They are in a pot. You could also maybe just attack the grass outside of the fire's cannon as well.
Could, but I think the pots are guaranteed, so they would be faster if you remember which pots they are.
Ah. It was not until today that I learned that, at least watching Gymnast do his Wind Waker HD randomizer, that certain pots are guaranteed to have certain things in a cluster. I don't know if that's true for Twilight Princess as well.
So Andy has now done most of Stallard skip. Pretty much just has the bomb boost left, so hopefully he'll be able to get it here. This would be very fast, I would think. Looks like he got it. So it's definitely worth it to go for it since he got it first try.
Very, very nice. Yeah, we completely glanced over that. That was TAS only until recently with a very specific angle buffer, and yeah, Andy making it look like he's been doing it since the game came out. Yeah, that is gaming. Sammy is able to catch up if he can get Salar's gift for first time. Andy is currently running away with it right now.
So I don't know that Simi actually goes for Stellar's yet.
I think I saw him do it in his pools, but I might be mistaken.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, his splits right now look like a normal Stellar segment. So I'd be interested to see what he does, but yeah, okay.
He's learned
Teabag
it,
is
but
saying that
doesn't
he
do it.
doesn't really do it now, which I totally understand. Going for Death Sword skip though. With the slash method, which makes the timing a little bit more lenient to be able to get them into charge off here. Very nice.
Yes, Twilight Princess speedrunning is quite cool, I would say.
Yeah, I think with that Stallard skip, Andy is just kind of running away with us at this point. I don't think that it's. I mean, the gaps here are pretty big. I don't think it's likely in the late game that either Simi or Madeline is going to be able to catch up to him.
Well, we say that, but City of the Sky and Palace of Twilight can be very trolly in their own sort of ways. But if Andy,
not quite that trolly. I mean, unless Andy gets like cool game or something.
Do not wish that fate on Andy.
Yeah, Andy is going to be smart and like wait on the claw shot to make sure that he doesn't get cool game.
Yes, Andy is going to wait
do in a
to
race.
claw. Do you hear us?
I mean, Madeline, if you're feeling too sick to finish the run, it would be probably perfectly fine to DNF. It would affect the seeding a little bit. I mean, if you think that you're not going to be able to finish top 2 in the pool overall anyway, and you're feeling awful, you should definitely just go ahead and take care of yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to echo baseball here. If you feel sick, stop. This is a competitive environment, but this is also, friendly competition, and if it is a detriment to your health. Yeah, dying during Wolfdash is not allowed. Thank you, Beast.
Yeah, I also don't think that like the specific seeding in Redemption bracket makes that much of a difference anyway. Yeah. So like there's not a whole lot of reason to push yourself too hard if you're feeling sick here.
And for the chatters, the placement outside of the top 2 does matter for the redemption bracket, but not enough to risk your physical health.
Yeah. I want to note there that I think Simi did some cool movement on the little spinner rails. Simi is doing spoilers for Stellar Phase 1 here. Or Stellar Opasse 1. What that message says.
Yeah. We also, unfortunately,
what is he doing? What is going on? What? Was he just walking on sand? I don't. Bro.
Hit 1 even.
Dude,
I can't tell if this was intentional or not. From my perspective, it looks like he just got hit by the spikes 3 times in a row, and there's nothing he can do about it.
Oh, poor goodness.
Yeah, Simi, unfortunately, I'm just going to have to say that's a skill issue. And unfortunately, we had to talk about other things during the this section where French actually matters in Andy's run. So it was about 17 seconds slower in that section because you have to roll back over to fire and say yes again for him to rebuild the cannon. But that also means that you don't have to worry about rupees. And now Andy is instantly in the sky with collecting 0 rupees. See, there's a 0 on his screen. Which is something that I forgot about. It's not that it doesn't cost any rupees. I think it's that he accepts whatever rupee count you currently have.
I think that's right, yes.
Yeah.
So if you have like, well, because Andy would have had some amount of rupees there. So it would just empty his wallet, basically.
The mates rates. Yep. The buddy tax. Simi hopefully getting a quick down here on Star-Lord. Very nice. Simi going for a counterclockwise auto spin and then finishing off Star-Lord with clockwise spins.
Yeah, like we mentioned earlier, the clockwise spins save a little bit of time in terms of it's like frames on each spin. So it is faster to be able to clockwise spin on Star-Lord specifically. It looks like Madeline is probably done.
Yeah, unfortunately, Madeline, but health comes first. If you need to stop, please do not harm yourself by continuing this race. In the grand scheme of things, I think it matters less than if this would happen during a bracket match. Yeah, this is totally understandable. I would not feel bad about DNFing for medical reasons, especially a fever. Staring at screens with a headache and a high fever does not help. I know from personal experience, being a World of Warcraft raider myself.
Well, and it was a pretty good effort too. That was not a bad run either.
Yeah.
I think her best possible time right now is like a 3:11. So it could have probably finished in the low 3:1x territory. So
yeah, very respectable.
Yeah, I'm sure the tournament organizers will figure something out. So.
Yeah, some great moderators and admins for the Twilight Princess community, doing great things for the community and for the game. If you want to know any more about the tournament or about TP speedrunning in general, you can go to discord.gg/TP. And something else that we glanced over earlier, Simi is entering the inn where he's going to go into the basement and do the biggest sequence break in the run, which takes about 20 seconds.
So simple for saving so much time.
Yeah.
Just clip into a statue.
And just like that, we've skipped all of Temple of Time and the Skybook. Yeah, I think shifting to 2 screens would make sense. Everybody brace.
Nice long
We
jump
are being
attack.
shifted.
The Kyle word for Andy there. It's cool.
Oh, I'm probably need to refresh.
Yeah, I also do.
So it looks like with the building of the Sky Cannon and Andy just about getting to the double claw shots, Andy seems to be about 6.5 minutes ahead of Simi, I would say.
That seems about right.
Yes, Simikin's live split does have that very nice Zelda font, I believe.
Oh no, Andy voiding out, trying to do some skydiving here.
Kermit jumping.
Yeah. And wisely choosing to go ahead and grab the Ugu the second time, since I don't think he has enough health to actually try it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's strange baseball. It sounds like a design flaw. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna blame Trez.
I agree.
Welcome in, Raiders. Andy coming up on one of the smaller skips in the game, aerial fill skip. He's going to do a specific set of slashes to get him in a spot where he can aim the claw shots, and looks like he's going for the angle buffer setup, which is going to give him a perfect angle to claw shot through the barrier and get to the double claw shots.
Very nice.
Shout out to Awabi for finding that that angle buffer, which makes this trick a lot more feasible.
Yeah. Some of us older runners are still stubborn and lazy and don't do the angle buffer strat.
Well, you say stubborn and lazy, but getting the pixel quickly is still faster than doing the angle buffer. So
Yeah, if only I actually got it quickly enough of the time to justify not doing the other method. But anyway.
And with Madeline unfortunately having to drop out for health reasons, this is not just Simi versus Andy at this point. As we've said again, this is the last pool, the last chance pool, and there are 4 other runners that are going to be running at a different time, and their times will be compared to the 2 running today. And the top 2 times in the full 7 runners is going to go on to the winners bracket. Or excuse me, the main bracket, and the rest will be going into seeding of the redemption bracket, and then there will be 2 separate tournaments being held.
They shouldn't be ashamed to join us in the redemption bracket, where the water is nice and warm.
Andy going for
Anyway.
Kai clip to clip through the grate in the floor and get up to the boss key early.
Yeah, unfortunately the first claw shot here is fairly precise, so it can be a struggle to get occasionally. That one looked better. I don't know if it'll work though. No.
QWERTY and Yukio having a race. They have pretty similar times. That'll be a good match. Yes, there will be more races later. I just put the link to Madeline's website in tribute to her having to drop out of the race. It has both brackets for both of the main and the redemption bracket, as well as the remainder of the last chance pool, which will determine the seeding for the rest of the tournament. There are 2 more races happening right now that are not being streamed. There is Wolf Garden or Morgan versus Finran Legacy, which should be close to finishing up by now, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's probably... Actually, yeah, it looks like Morgan is already finished. So Morgan won that one. Fernand's still going. But Fernan is running the Wii route, so actually probably getting a pretty decent time for the specific Wii route that he was running on, but anyway.
Oh, Fernan is in Zelda, so that's what, 328 Zelda? Hey, it's Morgan. Congrats on your victory. And we also have Glubbers versus Doopsy in the main bracket of this tournament. That started at 10 p.m. Eastern time, so about 28 minutes ago.
Yeah, that one's still pretty early. Also should be interesting. Yeah, unfortunately, we only have so many people commentating, so can't restream them all. But all right.
At people in chat that are not currently commentating.
Well, some of the people in chat that are not currently commentating were doing races earlier, like Morgan, who has
There's-
also done plenty of commentary in this Wolfdash. So
No excuse. Kidding aside, the TP community is very, very helpful and very inviting to newer folks. Being one myself, I only started running the game 6 months ago, and now I'm commentating a tournament and pretending I know what I'm talking about.
you mostly know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You've done pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, even I like forget what I'm doing all the time, so I totally understand. And I've been around forever.
Yeah. And if I don't, I'm sure chat will humble me.
Yeah. Anyway, Andy did not have a perfect fan tower. Definitely missed a cycle there, but still, going into Argarok here, it should be interesting. There's some strats that we can do to save a bunch of time on, especially in the first phase of Argarok. Kind of save him, flying around for a cycle by standing close to a pillar on the first cycle. And then on the second cycle, we can just grab a pillar and then grab onto his tail before he can fly around again. So that's actually saves like a pretty substantial amount of time. I think like casually, most people don't know that you should just stand next to a pillar here. I honestly don't know why this works to make Argarok not try to sweep across the ground, but it just does. Dangerously close to going for cool game there. But did not get cool game. It's good. For those who don't know, if you claw shot the tail of Argarok on the first possible frame, you will not actually drag Argarok down and will not be able to drop off or do anything. And you just have Argarok kind of fly around or just sit there flapping his wings with you attached to his tail, and you have to save warp, and it loses a lot of time, actually. It's the last time you get like save from, you would have to it would take like about 4.5 minutes to get back to this point, basically.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah. No problem, company man. This is why we have commentators, so we can answer your questions if they are relevant to the run, and hopefully help you understand it. So Argarok is one of the longer, or I think it is the longest fight in the run. And I wasn't paying attention, so I'm gonna assume that you explained flame canceling and not make a fool of myself.
so I mentioned it, but I didn't explain it. But basically, the way flame canceling works is that if you put on iron boots at specific times, you can kind of make the game think that you've fallen down, and so Argarok just stops shooting flames, and you can do a couple more P-hat, claw shots, and get behind Argarok pretty quickly. More quickly compared to than when you would normally do it, so it saves a little bit of time on each cycle. The third cycle strat is a little bit different, but it's a similar sort of concept. But the fight overall is really not particularly difficult once you know what you're doing. So kind of feel like a little bit of an auto scroller sometimes until you get that one day where you just go brain dead and start failing something. Which does not feel good because the fight it really is not hard, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah. Argarok is another one of those sections where it's not hard, but it's very easy to lose time, because if you're slightly off on a couple of those flame cancels, you have to do it casually, quote unquote, which is waiting for him to do another flame cycle and then waiting the entire cycle, which is about 30 seconds in itself. Sometimes more if you miss it on the third cycle.
I thought that there was like a way to back it up as if you were doing the normal flame cancel, but I've never learned the backup because it's like not. That was interesting from Andy there. Maybe that's the backup. I don't know what was going on there. Anyway, did you see that? Like, I'm not crazy, right?
I thought he was on third cycle, And then Argarok didn't die, so I am confused.
He did like a weird thing where he like kind of dropped down and then claw shot another spot and then claw shot it back over. It's
Yeah.
very odd.
I think he may have missed the cancel in the second cycle, so he decided to go for swag.
Yeah, Teabag says that the backup is to do it the exact same way.
Oh, so drop down and then claw back up again. Do not void after getting the second cycle, because that resets all of his damage. And I learned that the hard way.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know. I've never messed up Argarok in that very specific way, so I've never had the situation to learn that.
Yeah. Oh, you just claw back to the pillar. Okay, that's something I didn't know. Thank you, Teabag. Yeah, so I had a bad Argarok, and he flew away, so I decided, and I was on the third cycle, so I decided I wanted to reset him, so I jumped off and voided, which reset all of his damage from phase 2.
Amazing.
Yeah. Cool game. Just like the void at the start of the fight, it resets phase 2. Okay, yeah. If you put it that way, Morgan, it makes a lot more sense. I guess the devs decided they made the arena large enough where you wouldn't be able to fall off accidentally.
I guess so.
Ooh.
Oh no, Simi also, I think, failing in the same way on the fan tower.
The fan tower spins Simi right round, baby. Right round, like a record, baby. Right round.
Very nice. When are you gonna release your mixtape?
Right now.
So Andy will be heading to Palace now. And dropping down with iron boots so that he can land on the bridge instead of in the water, which is very inconvenient landing in the water. So looks like Fernan must have also finished his run in the race that he had going with Morgan.
GG to Wolfgarden and Fernan Legacy. I need to stop saying Finran. That is not their name.
Finran.
I'm dyslexic. Leave me alone. It's 2024 and you're not allowed to mention it.
It's okay. Sometimes I'm verbally dyslexic, or orally dyslexic, or something. You know, when I speak, I just say the words backwards. Very funny.
I have that thing where I mix up the first letter in 2 words.
I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody has mentioned free run. Yeah.
Firein.
Oh God. Don't forget to claw shot the P-Hod.
The P-Hot.
All of these runners skipped the glorious P-Hod LJA, so we didn't get to see it. Oh well. We would have gotten to see it maybe if somebody had failed fan skip and felt like memeing around, but oh well.
The P-Hot. The hot one. I'm thinking that as Teabag calling one of the P-Hats attractive instead of temperature hot. Please, Teabag, enlighten us. Which one of the P-Hats is the attractive one?
Lord. Interestingly, P-Hats are like in the code, sort of notated in a similar way that enemies are, so they're like kind of considered enemies.
Let's not start
The
this
Majora's
debate
Mask.
again.
Oh God.
The Majora's Mask ones, yes.
Yeah.
Do we need to
I'm
start
not-
this debate again on whether or not pea hats are enemies?
No, I'm not saying that they're like, but they're not like definitively enemies because like the way that the game like notates certain stuff in the code is not like definitive exactly. But they do start with E underscore. That's all I'm saying.
I thought they started with P underscore.
No, I believe they start with E underscore. Anyway. People have
Andy's
gotten
in
very
Palace of
mad at me
Twilight.
about this in past. But anyway, it's fine.
So Andy's in Palace of Twilight.
Palace of Twilight is basically just a giant hallway, if you really want to think about it. It's
I was
not
thinking of
Link
it like a
where you can go
trident,
multiple
actually.
ways, but no, it looks like a trident, but you just go back and forth in straight lines. Yeah, it's basically a hallway. There's not much ambiguity about which direction you're supposed to go in the dungeon. It's just going in a straight line, grabbing a small key, continuing in a straight line, grabbing a small key, and so on and so forth, and then fighting Zant. It's a pretty straightforward dungeon. You kind of just roll around a bunch, try to hear where Phantom Zant is spawning, do spins correctly, do some L sliding, and throw some orb basketballs.
I do think Palace of Twilight is one of the most linear Zelda dungeons.
Ooh, yeah, I don't know. Probably?
Because, like, at least in, say, Forest Temple, there are at least 2 doors that you're able to open right off the bat. In Palace of Twilight, you either have a void or a fog wall. So there's only one door you're only actually able to go into.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of any in the Zelda franchise that are more linear than Palace of Twilight.
Like, even Hyrule Castle has 2 sides.
Yeah. Well, and it has 2 sides multiple times, too.
Yeah.
Because you can go to the graveyard or you can go to King Bolin 4. You don't have to actually do both of them. And then you can go either side once you're inside as well.
Voldorm's getting close to trolling Andy, but Andy able to dodge them.
Temple of Time is pretty linear. Okay. But you do actually still have to go out of your way once in order to grab the boss key. And the boss key is like... Oh, Andy!
Huh? Oh no! Oh no!
My goodness. Oh no, that's so aggravating. I'm sure Andy is like furious. Because that's gonna lose like at least a couple minutes to go all the way back there and back again.
Okay, so now we actually have to talk about Palace of Twilight. So what happened there is Andy tried to open the door a little early and ended up throwing the soul. Which the mechanic of the first half of this dungeon is that there is a hand chasing you that wants to grab the soul and take it back to its room. So if you leave the room that the soul is in, the soul defaults to its start position. So Andy basically has to do the entire run back from the west wing of Palace of Twilight.
Which means he's probably gonna have to get force transformed here as well, which is gonna suck. Oh man, and get the Midna text. And I think he also got Minda text at the start of like going back in because Minda's like, "Oh no, the hand took away the soul or something." You know.
I'm not sure it did.
Well, he did have some text going back into the West Wing. But anyway, it's like, yeah, no, this is not great because like, he's getting more text even. That's crazy.
Oh yeah,
So
there's
multiple
the
things of
okay.
text.
Yeah, lots of text.
Yeah. And it's gonna lose like, yeah, I mean, at this point it looks like it's over 2 minutes. Because I think that he started going back into the West Wing at around like 5:44 minute splits, and it's been a minute and a half since then.
Not to rag on Andy, but the only way it could have been worse. Wait, no, that's not true. I think that is the worst possible thing to happen.
Let's just stop talking so we don't jinx it further. Anyway, but yeah, no, like Andy obviously wants to get as good of time as he could possibly get in this race so that he doesn't have to worry about 2 people doing better than him in the race next Friday. And so this just makes it more likely that somebody could maybe catch up to him. I mean, if he got a sub 3, he would probably be feeling pretty safe. But now that's kind of out of the question. So, and it wouldn't be completely crazy for a couple of the other runners to be able to get like a low 3 something. So I think if we like take a look at who the other 4 runners are, like, so there's Ethernet, who I think I want to say has like a 302 PB right now, although he's still rusty. Pigeon also has like a 303 or 304. Link 1183 I think has like a 305 or a 307 or something. Badamja has a 307. Like, and there's still a week and a half until that other race, and so those players could improve a lot for it. So it's like this actually just makes that race much more interesting now.
Yeah, I agree, and notably, Badamja is another person who mains the Wii version of this game, and he just recently picked up the GameCube version and has already got a 307, which is a very competitive time. I think he's my pick in that race, if I were to be biased.
Oh, it should be interesting.
Yeah. Andy now entering Stupid Room. Hopefully you don't have to see why.
Well, we're going to see at least one extra Zant head spawn, but thankfully the Zant head spawned at the end still, so we did not see why it's Stupid Room. I think Andy has been punished enough this segment by the game. Doesn't need to have more silly things happen.
Andy tried to throw the boomerang to manipulate the Twilight message a little bit, and unfortunately threw it a little bit early, so that he did not get the manipulation.
Yeah, and so he'll try to go ahead and grab onto this claw shot before this cutscene starts to save a little bit of time. I think he barely got off the ground there, so he should be on the claw shot target. You have to be careful where you aim. Yeah, you have to. You want to be on kind of like the upper right quadrant of the target to get it to work. Not quite getting Spidey shot. Close though.
Why is it called Spidey shot?
Because you don't look where you're shooting web, I guess.
It's because you look like Spider-Man. Come on, that was a softball.
Oh, man, I don't know. Listen. You look more like Spider-Man if you could manage to get the claw shot after getting the double claw shot. I believe you can have both of them at the same time. They occupy different item slots, and if you pull out, I forget what order you have to pull them out, but if you equip both of them, and I think if you like shoot the normal claw shot and then try to use the double claw shots, Link will shoot a claw shot without having the second claw shot on. And so he really looks like Spider-Man. I've done this before. It's very funny. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any way to actually do that without hacking, but it's really funny. Anyway, there's probably a clip of it in Discord somewhere. Unfortunately, Andy's just having a lot of trouble on this. Oh my gosh. And he got the spawn and just didn't slash in time. This has been a very unfortunate light sword split. Yeah, if you hit Phantom Zant too many times on like a single warp, he'll just start warping around. And so Andy just did slightly too much damage, and the best backup there is to just like stand in the spot, usually the middle, and just wait and hope that he spawns next to you. And then you just have to hit him fast enough, but didn't quite get it there.
Yeah, that is one of the only instances of doing too much damage. I actually can't think of another fight, but I also only run any %, so.
Yeah, there's probably something else, but I don't know.
Simi.
Simi showcasing why it's called Speedrun.
Yep. I also think he was trying to go for try to get 3 platforms in one kind of jump, but maybe went a little bit early. These platforms are a bit unforgiving, unfortunately.
Yes.
Oh,
Especially
yeah.
with notches. So
Yeah. Bosses where you need to not combo would be instances of doing too much damage, right?
yeah, Death Sword is a good example. Aralphus is also a good example. If you fight Aralphus with the ball and chain. There's probably a couple others. Yeah, because everybody does Aralphus skip on GameCube, but there is a trick. There's like a way of doing Aralphus where you like never trigger the second phase by just like doing phantom damage with the ball and chain that like increments the damage counter. And so if you hit with having done enough damage, it'll just skip the second phase. But Simi's showcasing that these Shadow Beasts do more than 1 heart of damage when they hit you in Palace. I don't know why that is. They're like especially strong Shadow Beasts or something.
It's because they're in the mist, man. They're huffing that good shadow mist.
The ones that aren't in the mist in Palace also do that much damage, but I don't know.
They already had their dose of mist.
Tempting fate there. It's just like trying to die to the energy ball, I think. He got the heart though.
Did he get hit? Did he get blocked? What happened there? Oh, I was looking at Andy's screen. He tried to do a goodbye cruel world and failed.
I don't know. I would probably want to goodbye cruel world with that light sword split as well. Simi showcasing proper Spidey shot, although getting it very slowly.
He's listening to us.
I'm pretty sure he literally is listening to us.
Simi, what's your favorite color?
It's clearly got to be purple. Isn't that what color his username is?
You can change your username color? I thought it was random.
I know with Prime you definitely can. I think even without Prime you can change your username color. I thought you could like pick between basic colors. I think. I don't know. Definitely with Prime you can like choose a specific shade.
Yeah, and it also depends which interface you're looking at, because I think OBS decides just to use different colors for the usernames if you're looking at it through like the OBS preview.
Yeah.
Andy getting trolled by the keys there. Trying to do a LJA to save a couple seconds.
I feel like Palace in general has been trolling both of them. That was incredible. The jump attack out of the platform spin, getting hit by the Baba back onto the that's.
Yeah, looks very cinematic.
I can't imagine a sillier thing to happen right there. Like, that's incredible, actually. I don't think I've ever seen that one.
In my race, I was on that platform and took out Claw Shot for no reason and then jumped off of the platform.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Is Simi an orange man or is he an orange man?
Or is he an orange man, as in he likes the fruits, the oranges?
Or is he just a sentient orange?
Does he rhyme with orange? I don't know. Anyway, I'll be interested to see if Andy goes for the LJA here. I don't think so at this point. Yeah.
A bit too late.
Probably smart given how silly this palace has been. I mean, honestly, at this point, if I were Andy, I would just, like, take it slow. and just try to remain calm, even though the game is like being very mean.
Or is he an Oompa Loompa?
Simeon Oompa Loompa, yeah. I don't know.
That would be an orange man if you're watching the Gene Wilder version.
I mean, Simi's profile picture, I think it's like Lego chic or something, so maybe he's just very short, like a Lego. I don't know.
Or like an Oompa Loompa.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's connections everywhere.
Are
feel like it
Legos
would be-
orange?
Well, some Legos are orange.
True.
I feel like it would be very difficult to operate a GameCube controller with tiny Lego hands. Or even large Lego hands, for that matter. Anyway. Exactly. This is what happens when we get to late game in commentating TP.
Yeah.
Is we just talk about anything other than the game. Speaking of the
Especially-
game, Andy is going for early platform here and is hopefully not going to get hit off the target by the Deku Baba, because I believe that specific way of getting hit by the Deku Baba would kill him. But wisely choosing to grab the heart. That is a very questionable LJ that you should not go for. Good.
Andy is Link and Glubbers is a Babam. That's true. And I am a goblin in real life.
Does that make me Wolf Link or a Chihuahua? Because it varies. Anyway. Should
I think
be
you were
fine
a
on the early
festive
platform
wolf.
Here. A festive wolf? We'll go with that.
Ooh,
Oh no.
he's fine.
Probably get the claw shot before the platform goes back. Yeah, there we go. Very smart to go ahead and
Yeah.
shield there.
I think he could have gotten away with a poke, but it was best to play it safe.
He had enough time. He would have been fine. But if he got hit by the inner ball, he would have died. So,
Yeah, would have been all the way back down at the bottom of that room, which is very slow.
yeah, and because he wouldn't have killed the final Zant head, the platform that takes you all the way up wouldn't have spawned yet.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the part of the run where we kind of start talking about random stuff, because there's not a lot to talk about in Palace of Twilight, because it's done almost glitchless, save for a couple LJAs that only surmount to about maybe 20 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know. This part of the run is, I mean, it's not easy, because it's definitely, you can lose a lot of time in Palace, but it doesn't like feel super hard, and you're not doing a ton of crazy stuff, and so it's kind of like easy to just zone out and go on autopilot in City,
Yeah.
or in Palace, not City.
I mean, City as well, because you just finished you just finished Arbiter's Grounds and Stallard Skip if you're someone that does that. So I mean,
I feel like you still probably don't autopilot as much. The very like first few rooms in City, yeah, you autopilot, but there's some of the tricks require a little bit of attention. Like the double LJ, you have to like actually aim.
Right.
Fan Tower is difficult. You can autopilot Argarok, but Rolfus skip requires aiming. West Wing, or sorry, the East Wing is not like super easy. I don't know. You can't really totally autopilot City. The Palace is kind of just straightforward. So you just
maybe
kinda...
that's why my City is so bad, because I do. And I just forget where some tricks are.
It's nice to feel like City is on autopilot, but
Right.
Kai Clip is also annoying. I don't know. There's a lot of annoying stuff in City.
So now Andy in the Zant fight, something that is interesting about Zant is that the only hit that matters is the last one to deal damage to him. Or the last hit in a combo, rather. So you'll see a little bit of instances of Andy starting a combo early and get the one cycle here.
Yep.
Very nice.
You got it. That was the later of the 2 frames that would have worked.
I need to learn that.
It's not too hard. I mean, it's always worth going for at the very least.
Right.
Andy is trying to pick Xanth's nose.
Yeah. Check it for boogers.
God.
Digging for rupees.
To me, doing the claw shot method of doing this part of early platform room, which also works, although I would not trust that. Got it though. Just goes to show how much leeway you have in early platform room.
When you're first starting to learn early platform, it is very scary to do jump attacks to try to get it, but even if you can see it from out of the corner of your eye, you have a pretty good idea of where it's going to be when you drop.
Yeah, if you do the midnet buffer, you have enough time without even doing any LJs or anything crazy to make the platform cycle. So it's possible to do entirely glitchless. These are the 2 uses of the ball and chain that we were talking about earlier. The only reason we have to get the ball and chain is this one phase of one boss fight. Like, it definitely saves time elsewhere, like in the East Ganon fight, but it's the only time we actually need it is right here.
Unfortunate.
Oh, almost got that back up nicely. Okay, now Xanth should start spinning. Oh, really? That's surprising.
Yeah. Andy was patient to get that second hit. So what he was trying to do there was do a specific setup where he only hit Xanth with the last hit of his combo, which would tick in his damage cycle and would not make him teleport in that last phase there. Got a little bit of bad RNG.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like you can totally avoid the RNG if you just turn around. You just wasn't successful in turning around all the way.
Yeah.
It can be kind of hard actually because the camera's at like a little bit of weird angle, so you can't just hold down or something about it. I don't remember exactly what it is. Maybe you just have to hold down for like long enough that like turns all the way. But yeah, if you don't turn all the way, then you run the risk of Xanth just kind of spawning in front of you like that. Good one cycle, I think, by Simikins. I didn't actually see if that was.
He was able to get
it. It looked like that was the one cycle.
Double gripping. Double claw shot in French is double gripping.
Interesting. Simi doing a very slow combo, but with enough time to pull out the water bomb and not Rocket Link. I don't think that was the sword combo that he intended to do.
Yeah, so what Jaquaid mentioned there, when you're doing air refills with the water bombs, you have a little bit less air than you think you do. because if you release the bomb to refill your air 1 frame after you pull it, it is possible to launch Link to the top water surface, which in these chambers is the ceiling, and it's pretty much instant death.
It's definitely not frame
Guaranteed
perfect,
death.
I don't think, but
Well, I thought it was
it's
just the
a
first
certain amount of time. I'm pretty sure it's not frame perfect because like people do it as a normal shred all the time. For like certain other things, there are certain categories where it's useful. It's not 1 frame. You just have to wait like a little bit of time though. If you're not like trying to drop it immediately, you probably will be fine. Just have to be conscious of it.
Yeah. As long as you're not spamming the A button out of the item wheel, then I think you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would make sense that it's not actually 1 frame, because I think we would talk about it a lot less if it was 1 frame.
Yes, for sure.
Andy now going to Hyrule Castle and probably taking a break to stretch and get some water as we watch our pet kaiju break the barrier.
It's if the bomb is over, you head still.
You head. Oh, I see. So if it's early enough in the animation where Link is not actually moving.
I guess.
Although you're able to do the air refills without swimming sideways. You can just float straight up and get the air refill. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and in that case, the bomb would still be over your head. But I think that Teabag is saying if you're swimming and it's still over your head.
ah, okay. I'm just being semantic for no reason.
I don't know. I don't really know the exact timing of it, but it's definitely it's more than 1 frame. That's the point. So anyway, speaking of bombs, Andy is going to be using a couple bombs in Hyrule Castle to do some fights more quickly. It's a nice. I don't know how many frames that drop is, but it's a nice drop there. You have to kind of time that pretty precisely to be able to get the bomb pull and drop.
Looks cool.
The second barrier he doesn't actually have to do. He can just kind of roll out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, nice things about having like actual actor cutscenes in a game like this is if you skip the cutscene early enough, you can kind of just avoid some barriers like Andy did there.
Yeah, there's another one that'll be coming up in a couple minutes here that's very similar. So it looks like with Simi's House of Twilight time that he can probably still get about a 3:05 time here. So that could plausibly still finish in second among the 7 runners, but if I were in Simi's position, I would not be feeling super confident about that. So he'll have to sweat it out.
And Andy looking like he's on pace for a 3:02 maybe.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Simi and Andy are definitely the front runners to win this last place pool, but there are a lot of good contenders in the other half of this race, which is going to be a later time.
I mean, like if I were Simi, I would definitely be worried though, because you would have to hope that none of Pigeon, Ethernet, Link 1183, or Radamja get under a 3:05, and the chances that one of them gets under a 3:05 is like pretty decent. I would have to guess.
Any given race, honestly, there are some people, notably G's, who is one of our top runners. He Seems like races give him superpowers almost. He has been somebody who has PB'd by multiple minutes on different occasions in races.
Yeah. Also, Andy just skipped another barrier, like we were talking about earlier. Just kind of jumped into the cutscene and skipped it while in midair, so he just didn't get pulled into the middle of the barrier. Very nice. Be interested to see what bomb strats Andy does on the Dynalphos. It's actually a little bit more split than I thought it would be. I thought more people would do the boomerang method, but a bunch of people are sickos like me and like to time the bomb.
I just think it's funny to pull out the bomb and run around in a circle a couple times and then throw it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's more fun.
I'm also just very bad at the boomerang method, so.
Me too.
Oh, Andy's gonna be rich. Throw method faster, I believe that.
So, I don't think that's actually true, but anyway.
Well, you can pull the bomb out as soon as you
I
come
thought
to the
they I
room.
thought they timed it and it was basically the same. I mean, it's like because you don't have to wait until the bombs explode because you can like throw them into the wall with a boomerang.
Yeah. Simikin's telling us that he's throwing the race, and I can see that as he bonked into the barrier that had already faded. Oh! I didn't say anything. Nope.
All right, let me see if we can live fact check Teabag. See if anybody has.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about what happened with Simi. Simi accidentally hitting the reset button on his Wii.
Is that what happened?
No, he was unable to skip barrier 2, so he had to save warp.
Oh, I see. I don't know if that's actually faster or not, but
it's very slightly faster, I think, for that one. For barrier 4, it is definitely faster to save warp.
you mean barrier? Well, I guess. Okay, I would have thought barrier 3. I think we usually call it barrier 3.
Is it barrier 3? I mean, KB4 isn't a barrier.
So there is another. Well, okay, that's true, and there is another barrier out to the east as well. So what number is it really? I think we most of the time call it barrier 3.
Barrier middle. Barrier 29. There you go. Andy meeting a bunch of mercenaries that Fire hired using the money that he paid for the Sky Cannon to help him fight Ganon. All like 20 rupees or so that Andy gave him. Who gave this man a bazooka?
He does. I mean, that the bazooka is just a prop. We all know that Ethan, the hawk, is just exploding there.
Yes, the exploding bird.
Yeah.
Barrier, I hardly know her.
The Ethan has,
Says
he's
Ted
explosive, and he also has laser beam eyes and just shoots the bulb ones. Actually pretends to have a bow and arrow there, but it's the bird is doing all the work.
Yeah, that's true, Morgan. I would trust a man with a goatee with any kind of weapon. Does he have a goatee or a soul patch? Andy manipulating his RNG going into the platform room.
Wants to make sure that he gets the 7th cycle with Zelda.
Yep.
I have been unable to live fact check Teabag, so we're just gonna assume that what Teabag is saying is true, unless I can find some video somewhere.
Time to add.
All I know is that it's close, so
him.
it might be a little bit slower. I don't care, honestly. It's cooler. It's worth the time loss. Andy going for the strat to skip the Lizalfas here and failing, fortunately.
It would have been cool if he was able to, though.
It is possible.
Oh, unfortunate. Andy, unfortunately, skipping the cutscene a little bit early and having to fight this last Dark Nut here. So you can do a specific claw shot to the sconce behind this Dark Nut to skip this fight entirely. But if you skip it too early, you can get blocked by the barrier. Yeah, more RNG manipulation for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the laggiest Dark Nut.
Simi showcasing the bomb and ring strat here, which Teabag claims is faster.
He said throw faster.
Huh? I thought Teabag said that the ring was faster.
He said throw method faster.
Oh, see, I misread it. Okay. I thought I had heard in the past some of the ring bomb propagandists saying that the ring was faster. But I just totally have horrible reading comprehension.
Get your calculators out. We have one cycle from Zelda.
Need the calculator so that I can know what cycle we're on every time by just adding one to the existing number. 2. Okay, the calculator says 2. What will the calculator say next? If I keep pressing the equal sign, what is it going to do?
All right, Mr. Good at Math.
Okay, that time it said 3. Okay. I'm in suspense. I don't know what numbers get next. But 4. Interesting.
Andy's showing Zelda his ball and chain, and she is completely unfazed.
Finally, something not optimal. Gets a triangle there. That was 5. Or are you saying that Link is, I showed you my ball and chain, please respond?
Yes.
Anyway.
Maybe swing it over your head a couple times.
Oh my goodness.
That looks like that's the 7 cycle. I think that's a clean Zelda.
It looked like a 7. With a very nice camera there.
Yeah, incredible camera roll. Oh. Zelda's hand doing a bit of a Terminator. Oh.
Andy just missing the ball and chain throw.
Just a little early on that throw.
And now standing there in disbelief.
He cannot believe what he just saw.
And unfortunately, Beastganon deciding to go through the portals. Sometimes he'll just turn around and run at you, which I think is faster. Maybe if you get really fast portals, it might be faster to get the portals. I don't know. I have not timed it. So ideally, you just don't miss the throw.
I'm sure he's thought of that.
Yeah. Should get this one, though. Here we go.
Yeah. Ganon giving him the good position for this attack, too. Take that, says Ganon.
Okay, Anno says that the minimum is 4 portals, but Anno, I think that Beastganon only had 1 portal there. No, I'm kidding. I know what you mean, Anno. But yeah, Teabag has a point. Valve has yet to even make Portal 3, so I don't know how there could be a 4 portal minimum.
If Valve can't count to 3, I don't know how you expect me to be able to.
Exactly. How am I supposed to count to 7 for Zelda? Like, I need a calculator to just add 1. See what Simi gets. Yeah, Simi and Andy are in the same room. And not
Simi
anymore.
getting dangerously close to getting the crash on Zelda.
Simi was probably going for the crash on Zelda.
I would not doubt it.
There was a race in Wolfdash 3 that I was commentating where he had like a big lead and he got like cool game 4 times in a row. It was like 3 or 4 times in a row or
What?
something. And he spent like 10 minutes on Poland's game. He won, but like it was very, very frustrating to watch.
Wow.
So I absolutely would not put it past him to go for the Zelda crash here. I mean, we already saw Prince go for it earlier. He would have been probably in the last chance pool if not for going for Zelda crash.
Prince got
I
the
know-
game in pools? Or the crash?
Yeah. No, Prince got the crash in pools. I don't know if anybody got cool game. But yeah, Prince got the crash. That's why I was saying that's the reason he probably would have been in the last chance pool if he had not gone for the crash.
Ah, right. Seigneur Dumont.
Looks like Andy is about to finish. Be interested to see if we get in the interview. Hopefully he will not
Anna
be
being very
breathing
annoying.
loudly into his microphone this time. You know, some people have
kinda
like,
want
done
it
that
now.
where, no, some people have done that where they play the game capture audio where like Ganondorf is breathing heavily, but Andy, the way he did it was like, I'm pretty sure that he personally was breathing into his microphone.
No, I don't think that was on purpose. Also, GG to
No,
Andy with the 3:03:38, which is a great race time.
Anyway, yes, 3:03 in the race is
Yeah.
pretty good. I'm sure that he is very frustrated at all of the things that went wrong in Palace and City and whatnot, but it's fine.
I would say despite the things that went in Palace, that was a very good race.
Yeah, Anna, I mean, it's not guaranteed, but anyway, looks like Andy is in the waiting room, so we'll hear from him soon. How are you feeling, Andy?
I feel like I did okay, I guess.
Yeah, I think you definitely ran away with it with getting Stalwart skip first try. That must have been felt really good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I got ringless too, so that was a gold split for me.
I'm personally impressed that you didn't like punch through your monitor during Palace, because I probably would have.
I wanted to very badly, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That looked frustrating. But yeah, no, I mean, you were on pretty good pace before that, so. And a 3:03
yeah.
in this race is still pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. The rest of Palace also went decent, I think. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I did good enough to gold the second part of it, apparently, so.
Yeah, I think it's testament to your you know, being a veteran in this game and being able to kind of shake off that costly mistake in Palace in the earlier section with the soul and bring it back and still get a 3:03 despite that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy with how I did overall. We'll have to see how the others do next week, I guess.
Yeah. Are you worried at all, or do you think like the 3:03 is probably good enough to feel pretty safe about?
I think it's relatively safe, but I also wouldn't be surprised if, you know, I got beat out. by those people. So
Yeah, it should definitely be interesting. Sorry that you're gonna have to like wait a week and a half to know for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, with this being a community-run event, scheduling and all of the different time zones with our runners has made this the timeline a bit more stretched out than the mod team has wanted it to be. But you know, anticipation is half the fun, right?
yeah, and I
Or
did
half
have
the
fun.
anxiety.
So
Yeah. But,
GG to Simi with a 306.47, also a great time.
there we go.
There it is.
Wait, okay, and Andy, I have a question. Did you do the did you have it like set to your game capture audio?
Yeah, I
as
think-
okay, is that what it was?
I think Discord just automatically switched to it at some point, I guess, and then it did
So
that.
I thought that
So-
you were like doing that intentionally just to mess with us. So I didn't. The other people have definitely done the same thing where they set it to the game audio.
Simi, you're again. It has possessed your soul.
Oh man.
Yeah, Discord does some weird things. Whatever, if you disconnect your capture card or something funky like that, and then reconnect it defaults to the newest audio source that it finds. So it's very likely that could have just been, you know, resetting your audio or your capture card or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll give Simi a minute to figure out his audio.
No, it's worse.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Simi now choosing to play the audio he had playing in the background this time.
Oh boy. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I guess, do you have any other thoughts about that run, Andy?
I think that I failed Hugo, and that means it was a bad run. But yeah,
Well, all of y'all failed Hugo this time.
I mean that it doesn't count for other people.
Okay, fair enough.
Andy, the average TP runner with a sub 3 PB. I failed Hugo, therefore no.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Link butt out. I didn't ask you, sir.
Simi have like a second Wii
Please,
running in the
please.
background.
Oh,
Okay,
I think we can hear him now.
There we go.
His
There we
mic
go.
Oh
is
my
working.
god!
We did it.
I don't know
Yes.
why it does that. Ah. Wow,
boy.
hello.
Hello.
All right. If he Iron Boots clogged into the mic. Oh my god. All right. Simikins,
Mm-hmm.
do you have anything you would like to say?
What a bloody stinker that was. Oh my god. At no point in the run was I like, you know what? I'm playing okay for this stretch of 5 minutes. Like,
I mean, you got a 306. It's not like if you
Did you
want to
watch-
like
did you
see a
watch the run,
truly
by the
awful
way?
run. No,
Did
no,
you
no.
watch the run?
I was here the whole time. If you want to see a truly awful run, you should go watch my pools race. Okay.
Okay,
I don't want to hear any complaining about a 306 to me. Okay. Listen, I have suffered through hell. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
this was okay. All right. A 306 in a race is acceptable.
It's,
Simi,
I mean, it
can
would be
you walk us
acceptable
through your
if I
thought process when fighting Stalord? Because that
I'm-
was
so
a Stalord.
I was at that point in the game. I was only keeping motivated to finish the run by like watching the stream as well. So I was like half watching the game. You know, like you walk forward, press spinner, but if you walk forward too far, you can't get on the spinner. So I was like, oh no, I have to walk back. And so I walked back, and then I just like I got hit with the cycle of spinner thing, Stellar breath, spinner thing, spinner thing. And I was like, that wow, that's the most. I don't think anyone's ever lost that much time on the first hit of Stellar before. But yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty like I'm sad that Andy, like, let's be honest, kind of threw the end, because that was like going
Yeah.
okay until like
Yeah.
Palace, right?
Yeah, it was sub 3 potential until Palace, so
Yeah. And then I saw you open the door without the soul, and was like, oh no. And then it's that thing
yeah.
where I had to remember, like, that does actually matter, because unfortunately
Yeah.
we're racing against 4 other people, which
Well,
I'm
I'm super mad about that because so that's happened before, and so my plan was always if this happens, if I accidentally throw the soul, I'm gonna pick it up with the claw shot instead to
Yeah.
avoid this.
I have the
And
exact
so
same thought
no,
process.
and I had that. I literally thought about it, and then I was like, no, it will be fine. I'm like facing away from the door, and then he opened the door anyway. So yeah, use the claw shot.
Very, very unfortunate.
That
And
is my advice.
there was a bit of comedic timing too, with the soul rolling into the load zone, trying to follow you out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it went through the door.
And it is funny that it is a good segue that you mentioned that, Simikins, because there is also 4 more runners that are going to be racing at a later time. I think Jaquade said next week.
Next
And
Friday. Yeah.
next
Yeah,
Friday.
unfortunately, they are all so unavailable that they couldn't. So we were gonna try and do all 7 of us in one race, which was like almost gonna work, but then Andy's away this weekend, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, we can split it in 2. But then the other half, like, they're all so unavailable and out of sync. They couldn't have a time for just the 4 of them, even until next Friday. So we have to wait so long to see,
Yeah.
which is also annoying. But I mean, hey.
Well, and a couple of those people are like, it's an extra week and a half for them to improve too. So, I
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
at least for
Yeah.
me personally, I would much rather have been in the later half, because I only learned this route a week ago. Like,
Oh really? I didn't realize it was that recent thing.
but I wasn't going to do that to my good friend Anarakis and throw the schedule out even more.
Yeah.
But no. Also, I just feel like it's. I'd be less pissed off about the run as well if like the run was finished now. But because now I have to wait and see if any of the like ludicrous mistakes actually mattered. Like at the start,
Yeah.
my
That's
controller wouldn't do anything for like 30 seconds. I just sat on
Yeah.
the A screen. I'm like unplugging it, plugging it back in, unplugging it, plugging it back in, nothing. So my actual time.
oh man.
Like,
Yeah,
Was that
and
just
then
like a adapter issue or something, I guess? Or...
Nah, so my main controller is has a really bad D-pad, and I literally can't do bridge back in time. It's horrific. So I use a different controller just for the first like minute. And that controller is a Wavebird, and I plugged in
I see.
plugged in the like receiver thing, and it just didn't turn on.
That's fun. Yeah.
you
yeah,
accidentally
like-
have the macro key pressed.
No. But then and then when I was like, okay, I'll just switch back. But then when you try and plug back in, like the adapter takes like a while to boot up. So that was just a nightmare.
Yep. And then you got mail. Did you get any interesting mail? You said it
Yeah,
wasn't
oh my
even
God,
yours.
buddy, in failed mailman skip in the game. Okay, whatever. That's kind of funny. And then I hear footsteps and a knock on my bloody door. And like I was watching out the window. I'm like, no, it's all good. Like they'll just leave it. But I had to sign. They needed someone to sign, and I was the only one here. So I'm like, well, I have to get up and get this package from my buddy.
Oh, so it was like your roommate's package.
Yeah.
Wait, so I didn't
Yeah.
notice. Did you have to like? Did you have like a cutscene or a loading zone that you did that in?
Yeah, he was standing
I was
still for
just
like 20
standing.
seconds.
Yeah. I just had to
Oh
go.
my
It was like
goodness.
right before Linear Twilight. I was like,
I must have been watching Andy's screen at that point.
Yeah, there was
Speed running the mailman in IRL.
a
Yeah.
comedy of time losses.
And
Well, I'm
that's when
actually
we
annoyed
started talking about Simikins being a mail thief IRL.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I said it's not my mail, and no one understood what that meant.
But yeah, that is one thing that I did not consider for you guys finishing this race, was having to wait an entire week to see where you fall for the next bracket. I do not envy that. But
And
hopefully
that
it
makes
gives
it
you.
annoying. Like, I'm sure Andy, you feel the same, because
Yeah.
we played kind of bad.
Yeah, especially
sure.
because of that. Yeah.
Like, I reckon it's possible that neither of us could get top 2, which is annoying. Whereas, like, if I
Yeah.
played okay, I'd be like, okay, I did a decent run. Now we have to see. But because I played terribly,
Yeah.
I have to like just hope, and because it sucks to hope that someone else is going to play terribly. You know?
Yeah, because with the times we got, we're kind of like right on the verge of like I think we're sort of safe, but it's realistic that people could
I
definitely
feel
beat
like
it. So
you're safe top 2. I'm not safe. I don't think.
Yeah, Simi,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to sweat it out because it's pretty likely that somebody's probably gonna, but we'll see.
Yeah, 3 or 6 is not a good time.
Well, I feel like chopped liver then.
I mean, like for our pool of races.
Oh
is what
yeah,
I mean.
of course. I'm just making it about me because I'm selfish. Anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
So
What I was upset about because it's like
But Simi,
we
if
both
you
failed
if
to
you
kill skip, which is sad. But then we both turned it around. We're playing well. Both got Gorge Void. Both got Rupee Roll. And then I fell mid Rupee Roll.
yeah,
And then
that was very
the
unfortunate.
beginning of the end.
Simi, just listen though. If you end up in redemption bracket, it's not all bad because we could have an epic grand finals in redemption bracket. It'd be fun.
Gotta
I
get
don't
through
want
me
to
first,
be in
buddy.
the tournament for the whole
Yeah.
next like 3 months, dude.
Oh God, I hope it doesn't take that long.
oh man.
No,
Does-
we're gonna crack down on like making sure races happen quickly because
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully scheduling
Pools
gets
one
much
looking late, and
easier as we get to
Yeah.
the one-on-one matches because you're only dealing with scheduling with 2 people. And as much as we want these to be restreamed, if they're during, degenerate hours, that's not really a big deal as long as it works for the 2 people running.
Yeah. Speaking of 1v1 races though, so Morgan and Fernan just had their race. Morgan won, I heard. Are Doopsy and Glubbers going right now? And has anyone
Yes,
got
they
the
are
lowdown
going
on
right now.
where they're at? And maybe when we sign off here, we can all of us can hop over and cheer them on.
Yeah. Well, there's not a restream of it, so we would have to just
Yeah,
pick
yeah.
one of them to raid. But that's
I
probably
don't even mean
something
raid.
we
I
could
just
do.
mean like I'm gonna go watch them after this. Is what I mean.
I'm
Well,
going
yeah,
to
good
bed.
time.
That's a good decision.
Yeah, but
GG's, Andy.
Imagine being
Shame.
responsible.
yeah. Unfortunately, Madeline had to DNF due to health issues, but I think you two are still the favorites to win this last pool bracket. It's all up to the race next week. There are going to be many of other matches in the bracket. They are going to happen in tandem, so lots more Twilight Princess to come.
Yeah.
Exciting
And with
stuff.
that, baseball.
Yes.
Hello.
Thank you for sharing that multi-Twitch link with the main bracket match that's happening right now between Glubbers and Doopsy.
Yeah, thanks Teabag for posting it in the Discord so I could just copy and paste. Yeah, so go watch that. I don't know if I want to pick someone to raid from that. But
It probably puts a bit of pressure on them as well.
yeah, I don't want to like make them uncomfortable. Yeah, so go watch it on the multi-Twitch. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching today. Thanks to our wonderful runners, Andy, Simikins, and QWERTY, whose Twitch I have right. That's not it. I'm doing good. It's the same link. Okay, QWERTY. Yeah, thanks, runners. And thank you to our commentators, Fodder Cannon and Jaquaid. This was fun. Thanks for being here.
Thanks,
And
baseball.
of course.
Yeah, as always, big shout out to ZSR for the restreams. It's always so much fun to do these.
I'm so glad. I enjoy it too. So, yeah. The next ones that look like they're getting restreamed is probably going to be on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, Cass versus G's, and same day, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, Marco versus Teabag. So we'll have to wait.
Jesus, the French showdown.
Ooh.
Hopefully, we can get some fresh commentators on it too. Oh wait, no, it's gonna be a QWERTY and Beast, I think, on that one.
We'll see.
That should be good. Okay. I'm gonna end the stream here. Go watch the other race. And we'll see you later. Bye.
They're both entering Arbiter's Grounds right now, so that'll be a really good one to watch.
Fun. All right. See ya.
See ya.